for the 36th annual Coca-Cola 600. Here is your Haviland starting grid. 42 cars just about set to be released for 2 preliminary laps. And the man on the pole at 23 years of age will be the defending champion in this race. Here is the Haviland starting grid showing Jeff Gordon on the point. The man in his shadow, back when he ran for Rookie of the Year and finished second to him twice this year, Bobby Labonte in the Joe Gibbs car will start in second. Going to row 2 today from Newburgh, Maine, Ricky Craven, and beside him, Brett Bodine. In row 3, it'll be Michael Waltrip, and from Missouri, Ken Schrader. Row 4 today, there you have Sterling Marlin, defending Daytona 500 champion, and Elton Sawyer. For row 5, it's Joe Nemechek from Florida and Morgan Shepherd and the Wood Brothers, number 21. Row 6, there's Dick Trickle from Wisconsin and Hut Strickland. Row 7, Terry Labonte and Todd Bodine. Row 8 will be Rick Mast and Lake Speed from Mississippi. In row 9, it's Chad Little, winner yesterday in the Grand National race, and Ricky Rudd. For row 10, Bill Elliott and Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia. In row 11, 5-time 600 winner Darrell Waltrip, driving with 3 broken ribs, and Dale Jarrett. Going to row 12, Bobby Hamilton's there in the Petty number 43, and Rusty Wallace alongside. In row 13, rookie Robert Presley and Derek Cope. For row 14 today, Ted Musgrave's there with Jeff Bodine. Row 15, Mike Wallace and Ward Burton. Row 16 is Loy Allen and Mark Martin well back in the field. Row 17, Chuck Bound and Dale Earnhardt. For row 18, Dave Marcus and John Andretti. In row 19, Kenny Wallace and Jimmy Spencer. Row 20 for our start will be Steve Grissom and Kyle Petty, a former winner. In the final row, the provisional starters from Connecticut, Randy LaJoie and Jeremy Mayfield round out the field. The field is rolling. Preliminary laps about to be run. We're getting set for the 36th annual 600.
Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pace laps on the racetrack right now in advance of the Coca-Cola 600. Very overcast today. Temperature in the low 70s, extremely humid, and the ceiling is very low. And that's causing us to not be able to put our in-car helicopter up for you today, our steel aerial platform. We have 5 terrific in-car cameras. We want to take you for a ride today with Bill Elliott and Mark Martin and Ted Musgrave and Bobby Hamilton. And we'll do all that hopefully a little bit later on this afternoon. But for the moment at least, they're telling us from the airport that it's too low a ceiling to safely put the helicopter up. So we're going to skip that for now. Field ready to get going, Ken Squire. 600 miles of racing action to begin our afternoon.
We're 1 lap away for 24 Fords, 14 Chevrolets, and 4 Pontiacs. Pace car brings them by. 1 to go. Those that failed to qualify, Johnny Chapman, Jimmy Hensley, Bobby Hillen, there's the pole sitter. Davy Jones didn't make it. Okay. Jeff Purvis, Greg Sachs. Pretty anxious pit road down there today. A lot of work for those folks.
Everybody knows it's a long way though, and all they want to do is get there to the end.
DW's release driver is right there. That's Jimmy Hensley. Darrell told me that he looked at a lot of Grand National drivers, and then he decided he wanted somebody with a lot of Winston Cup experience, Ernie, to carry him into this thing, and he thought Hensley was the right guy.
Well, there's definitely Hensley's had a lot of time in a Winston Cup car, and you know, there's not a matter of the Winston Cup or the Busch Grand National guys are really eligible, but Jimmy Hensley's the one that's been there and been doing this stuff before.
That front row and the 3rd position together, just 27 years of age is the average for those 3, with that 23-year-old and the 27-year-old beside him and the 29-year-old back there and Ricky Craven as they get ready to bring him down and get this race underway. The youth movement has moved to the front in Winston Cup stock car racing. Brett Bodine bringing Junior Johnson's number 11 up. What a beautiful start. 120,000 sold out seats. Everyone standing. Infield another 40 or 50,000 here at this mile-and-a-half facility. And ladies and gentlemen, the Coca-Cola 600 is underway.
Bobby Labonte didn't let him get on that start. He really come out on the outside.
Indeed, Bobby Labonte was pressing on the outside on the 18, keeping Gordon honest in this first lap and going by him. Bobby Labonte, who has been in Gordon's shadow, finishing twice this year behind him, runner up to him for Rookie of the Year, putting that Gibbs car out in front. And there is a stop and go call on Kyle Petty's number 42 for jumping the flag. You taught him better than that, didn't you?
I told him not to get caught. I didn't tell him not to jump the flag.
He's in good company. That's what happened to Waltrip the other night. That was on that Winston special, and he just set him back, took another lap. Here we come out of the turn, and here's Kyle ready to come in. As they come by this time, it'll be Labonte first, Gordon second, Craven third, Brett Bodine is in fourth, Schrader fifth, and Marlin. Let's go look a little further back in the field. What do you think you want to be doing right here? What are you focusing on as you get this thing underway for 600 miles?
I tell you, I think all the guys and the drivers are sitting there and trying to feel their car out, make sure everything isn't rubbing and that sort of stuff. Obviously, they've been sitting for quite a while, and everybody's been thinking. But we really don't know. Man, up front, we really got a good battle with Kenny Schrader and Brett Bodine and Ricky Craven.
That's for third.
I think everybody just tries to sort of get settled down. You know, I mean, let's get this thing started and see how the car is doing and what we got to do to it. But you know, you can't let nobody get too far ahead of you, but you still got to get settled down. That's what I always try to do. Anyway.
Schrader scooting through in the number 25 from the 6th position. He moves into third.
It looked like Kyle Petty lost a lap on his stop and go penalty, so already he's going to be 1 lap down.
We saw a guy yesterday come out here, that Rich Bickle, and make up the lap. What a show he put on.
Oh, definitely. Grand
National race, probably the best one ever run here, 300 miles. Dick Berggren has a thought for us.
But the downside on that race yesterday, Ken, was all the crashes, and so many of them started when the drivers were running 3 wide. In the drivers' meeting just 2 hours ago, Gary Nelson cautioned the drivers in today's race. He said, do not run 3 wide. Be very careful. Remember what you saw yesterday. Doing that can take the air off a fellow competitor's car. It's a long race. Take it easy at the beginning. Well, I guess somebody didn't hear him.
Well, for certain, Mark Martin is not taking it easy. He's rolling out of the back of the field. As you see Rusty Wallace back here in the deuce, he is in 16th position. Back in 22nd position is Mark Martin. And there you see him trying to work his way up through as he moves under Derek Cope.
Sure looked like he was going to be 3 wide right there coming off the corner.
Right with him comes the 3-time winner, the man in black, Earnhardt, on a roll. How'd you like that silver car last week?
Obviously, it didn't do very good. So
no, I was asking you how you like the looks of it.
It looked good, but you know, Earnhardt just looks natural in his black car.
Got that. Here he is getting under Cope.
Here comes the front runners. Like he got tired of running second. He wants to run first now.
Jeff Gordon back for the lead. They say he has allergies. Allergic to anything outdoors. Allergic to any position other than first these days.
He's doing a good job right now, that's for sure.
And they have made a big mark on the rest of the field.
Yeah, this early, that quick, they got a really good jump on. They're out there by themselves right now.
Take a look at those 2 leaders, and it's a long way back to that 3rd place car. That's Schrader, followed by Bodine and Craven and Sterling Marlin and Michael Waltrip. There are the leaders coming down out of turn 2, and that's the interval. Back to 3rd, Schrader. 4th, Brett Bodine. 5th, Ricky Craven. 6th is Sterling Marlin. 7th in there, Michael Waltrip. Steve Burns has a report from the Darrell Waltrip pits.
Ken, don't be surprised to see DW come down pit road soon. He's radioed into the crew and he said, guys, I'm hurting real bad, and he sounds out of breath as well.
Well, that's been the big problem. They've even built a platform for his right arm. He just can't lean that steering wheel over when he's out there. And every time he tries, it just cuts off his breathing. He's running 41st on the field. Darrell Waltrip, who came here with such high hopes. Chad Little is an early pit stop. Number 97 on pit road, Chad Little, yesterday's winner. And we're watching for the 17 car. Maybe we'll see, he's still out there hoping for a caution, but running on the tail end of the field. Darrell Waltrip, the 5-time winner.
He's going to do everything he can do to stay out there as long as he can stay out there, just to get a caution and get Jimmy Hensley in the car.
They didn't discover those cracked ribs until the weekend. They had torn cartilage reported from that bruising 180-mile-an-hour crash, but it's turned into more. And Hensley is standing by to go into car number 17, the Western Auto car, shortly. Side by side, further back in the field, there goes Ricky Rudd, reeling around the outside of this 1.5-mile speedway as he gets around Rusty Wallace. That's in 12th position. And you see right there, one of the Burton boys, Jeff, in car number 8 for the Stavola brothers. Spotters on their toes today. We're going to take a break and then come back. We've completed 12 of 400 laps as you watch Ricky Rudd winding his way up through the field after starting 18th into 12th. And there are your leaders, Gordon and Labonte. From the Steel aerial camera, this shot of the 2 leaders rounding the 1.5-mile, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now that particular helicopter flies at a lower altitude than does the camera, or rather the helicopter that has the equipment for the onboard cameras. They have to be up another 2,000 or 3,000 feet, and they haven't been cleared to get up that far yet, so we'll just have to wait on our in-car cameras. Not waiting for anyone is Jeff Gordon. He's planked that number 24 Chevrolet out in front and staying in first after a here's number 2 Rusty Wallace down to the inside making his move, and he's getting back up another spot, up to 10th now.
Yeah, Rusty's really running hard. I mean, he really wants to do good. Penske and them didn't make Indy and put a little bit of extra pressure on him, but he's not really been running near as good as what he thinks he can. And so he's really going to try hard.
That move around number 30, Michael Waltrip, brings him to 9th. Rusty Wallace up to 9th after starting 24th on the field. He's been very confident about this car all week. He says he's got a horse that will run.
I tell you, Rusty was one of the better cars in practice yesterday, and he was one of the guys that could run right with Jeff Gordon. And you know, right now Bobby Labonte's sticking right with Jeff Gordon. So I think in a while we're going to see a really good race.
Hey folks, yesterday morning you had a chance to get the Winston Cup cars out and play, but then that critical happy hour when everybody gets out there all ready to go, that got washed out. How much of a difference does that make if you can't get that last hour in on a Saturday?
We've been here for 2 weeks, so if you haven't figured it out by then, you're not going to figure it out. Yeah, yesterday morning was a really good practice session, had a full hour, and I think that was basically happy hour.
You know, a lot of times if you're not careful, you get in that happy hour, you get too happy.
And you get unhappy.
You get away from what you've known for, like you said, for 2 weeks. And you start making some more changes, and then you really mess up. So probably all in all, it's probably better that you don't get to run.
Rusty Wallace has just blown by Sterling Marlin in number 4, picked himself up in the 8th position as he continues his charge toward the front. And there you see Mark Martin on the back end of this group, the car number 6 up under 9, Lake Speed. He is from 17th position now. And remember, he started way back in this parade. 32nd spot at the outset, now 16th. Under Lake Speed and going for Morgan Shepherd. The Jack Roush Valvoline Ford looking tough. Morgan Shepherd picks up the throttle a little here.
Looks like Earnhardt's following him right up through the traffic.
Hut Strickland just in front. Here's Earnhardt moving his way through right with Martin from the rear of the field.
Well, he used to be a pit crew member, used to stand on the wall and watch what's going on. Andy Petrie, however, is watching his car on our television broadcast. He's gone from 34th to 16th. How's he doing out there?
Well, he says it's a little bit tight right now. We're going to adjust it on the next stop, but it looks like everybody may be a little bit tight with the weather conditions we've got. I'm sure a lot of people will adjust, but we're going to adjust on the next stop.
Before this race started, Earnhardt said the car wasn't near as fast as he wanted it to be, but looks like it's about fast enough to do some serious business here in Charlotte.
Working the 25th lap, Earnhardt doing serious business right now as he closes with Martin on Morgan Shepherd, moves for Hut Strickland as well. 25 miles, 37 and a half green flag laps thus far in the Coca-Cola 600. Flawless start, 42 drivers going for it here for $1,400,000 in this 36th annual go. Took you, what, 15, 16 years to get the combination on this?
At least. Huh? We started here in 1960, and 75 was when I finally won the 600. I think I'd won a couple of 500s, but just never could get the combination to run all day. You know, run good is one of our better racetracks, but just as far as finishing, didn't have the right circumstances.
What's the secret?
Getting the right circumstances. You got to have a good car. You know, I mean, no matter what, you don't win if you don't have a good car, but then you've got to have things happen for your way. And the deal with 600 miles, so much can happen in 600 miles, and it's so long that you get more circumstances than you do in a regular race. So that changed a lot of complexity in the race.
There's Ricky Rudd trying to make a move for 10th position on Sterling Marlin. And that time Sterling fights him off. Rudd from 18th position. Richard's first win, 1961. The only year that Charlotte Motor Speedway ran. They had a 100-mile qualifying race.
Qualifying race.
Huh?
And, I think all the rest of them run out of gas. I got better gas mileage. I wound up winning the race and started on pole. And other than that, we run good in the race. I think I blew it up after 500 miles, and it was a 600-mile race. That was where our luck run over here. They're starting to lap cars now.
Those two leaders are drawing away. They're just flying through the field. Putting a lap right now on the Loy Allen Jr., number 19, as they go into turn 1. And in a class by himself for the moment, Jeff Gordon.
There's been a lot of talk this year about body styles, aerodynamics, downforce of the new Chevrolet Monte Carlo possibly having a slight edge on the Pontiac and the Ford. But one other common denominator, and we can see it right now, Hendrick power plants, the Hendrick engines. They're running first, second, third, and fifth, and that is pretty impressive.
Darrell Waltrip up to 38th position. He was in 14th. He stays in the lead lap as he hopes for a caution and a chance to put Jimmy Hensley in the cockpit of car number 17. Back with more in a moment as we come to lap 30. From the heartland of American stock car racing, it's the 36th annual Coca-Cola 600. Jeff Gordon with 34 laps now complete. 51 miles, stays in first, and stable right behind him in second place is Bobby Labonte. Schrader is third, Bodine, Terry Labonte up into the 5th position. Rusty Wallace is now in 6th. That's the young man they're chasing. Get a Napa scoreboard here, take you down through the field as you watch Jeff Gordon negotiating the 3rd and 4th corner, looking further back through the field. One car slipping off the pace a little there, dropping back to the end as they go into the corner. I wonder if that's Jeremy Mayfield's car. It's a black machine. Here it comes out of the corner. It's down on the inside. Not Pitty. It was up about 5 spots and just slipped back. Loy Allen. Loy Allen slipping back in car number 19. Average speed is a 176.3 mile per hour go. The record for this race, 1993, Earnhardt, one of those back-to-back wins. Earnhardt's mark was 145.5. Now here's Earnhardt looking for Sterling Marlin. He just keeps on thundering. He's up to 12th now. Marlin drops to 13, and Craven has fallen back. And look at car number 6. Earnhardt had moved around had taken Martin. Now Martin's trying to take him back in the back straightaway. Good fight.
Yeah, they're back a pretty good ways, but these boys that's right behind the 24 car, they're pretty well holding their own. He's just not driving on the way. He's got him a little bit of lead, and right now he's just staying there. So I don't know how much more he's got left. He's running along there, but Schrader's catching him a little bit. 75's car catching. Labonte's catching up, and even the number 2 car is catching up a little bit now. So he's just sort of settled down on a certain speed right now, just seeing what the rest of them's got problem.
The Thunderbat, Bill Elliott, back there in 9th, of black, number 94. Going to make him a move on this race. Mark Martin continues the battle for 13th. How do you deal with a situation where contact is made between 2 cars in this tight 1.5-mile track, Mark?
Well, if you're right on the edge, I mean, if you're really driving it hard and it touches at all, you lose traction. You know, car slides. Sometimes it's a front, sometimes it's a back. Usually it's whichever end is the weakest, you know, for being hooked up.
See a lot of that around here. Boy, you pitch off that turn number 4. Can't believe it. But number 1's been the one that squeezed him a lot in the past week, Ernie.
Oh, I tell you, turn 1's been really treacherous, but turn 3 and 4 is the ones that really go. Yesterday we saw a lot of battling, and we saw a lot of cars lose traction.
Yeah, I watched the race yesterday from a TV standpoint, and the car's running, and everything's looking good, and all of a sudden they just take off. And I think they had a little bit of trouble here Friday doing some practicing and stuff. They wiped out 3 or 4 cars, and people say, well, it was just a car under me or behind me or in front of me, and all of a sudden they just take off.
I tell you, I think it's because a lot of the drivers are just trying to push it to the limit. And if you're real close to the limit, then when you lose traction, you're pretty much done.
Mark Martin back there in 13th position. Let's get a report from the pits on that car.
Well, Ken Squire, as the weather has changed here and gone from bright sunny skies to overcast skies, many of the crews have tried to chase the weather. That's not what happened with Steve Meal. He brought the same car he ran last week in the Winston, and he has not changed it at all. This car is essentially identical to the way they rolled it off to the trailer. And Steve says, watch us. We're going to be just fine today. And he is indeed fine so far.
Boy, it's a lot of shuffling back here. Lake Speed down on the inside with the number 26 hanging it loose on the outside. Hut Strickland. Ooh, pass for 3rd spot. That's Todd Bodine in the number 75, making the weight belt of Butch Mock's car out here today.
I tell you, we really got to look at Kenny Schrader. Kenny Schrader's moved up to 2nd, and he's closing on Jeff Gordon. There he is.
Yeah, Schrader's cut it all the way down. He was about 15 car lengths back. I'll tell you, a car that could be in trouble out here is the 11 car. Here's Schrader really closing in now, down to about 2 car lengths.
There he goes.
There he's going for it.
Going right by him.
And here comes that 75 car right, not very far behind. He's going to catch up if they got to racing a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything going on in that 24 car. Randy?
Well, actually, the way the race has progressed for him, the first 10 or 15 laps, he was a little tight. Then the car began to come around to him. He said it's now freed up. It feels neutral. The only communication from Ray Evernham back to his driver, he just told him, look, take it easy. Set a nice, easy pace. It's a long, long race. So we don't know if he's driving easy right now or Schrader is just hauling the mail.
There you see car number 11 on pit road. He just grazed the wall coming off turn 4 a moment ago. Brett Bodine back underway in that Sylvania number 11. And we have a new leader. It's Schrader in the 25 that's taken the advantage. Schrader was almost 5 seconds behind just 18 laps ago. He has sure made that mark up, Richard.
Yeah, he's coming on good. Like I say, I think that 24 got out and set his pace and stuff and got used to running that speed. These other boys hadn't picked up any. Their speed was just a little bit better once the car settled down.
So Todd Bodine stays 3rd. And as they come by, they're about to put a lap as Rick Hendrick looks on Dave Marcus's number 71. There's David fading to the outside to let him through, making his 27th start. here in the 600. Jeremy Mayfield's number 98 on pit road. We can show you perhaps what happened to Brett Bodine here a few moments ago. Let's take a look right here. Maybe we'll see Brett Bodine get a little too close up here in turn 4.
Yeah, buddy. You run around there and all of a sudden you say, what's the wall doing in my groove? You know what I mean? I think that's where he got caught, because the cars wasn't close enough there to really push him into the wall or anything.
Is that a wake-up call? You really hear that thing when it rattles up against that concrete?
You don't really hear the sound of it, but you definitely can feel it.
Gordon falling back now as Todd Bodine moves around him. More in a moment.
Welcome back live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Rick Benjamin in the STP Pit Communications Center for you today on TBS as we watch race leader Kenny Schrader put Jimmy Spencer a lap down and haul it off into turn number 1. Want to update you on something that happened in Indianapolis. Of course, the 79th Indy 500 running earlier today. The race won by Jacques Villeneuve of Canada, and only his second start at Indianapolis. Bad injuries to midget veteran Stan Fox from Wisconsin. Fox in the first lap of the race, apparently something broke on his car. He and Eddie Cheever hit the wall. Fox's car shed its nose piece and he flipped down the track. A closed head injury for Fox, as well as severe leg injuries. He is out of surgery. We're told he's in intensive care. Serious condition for Stan Fox. Our thoughts and prayers are with he, and our congratulations to Jacques Villeneuve, who won the 500 a couple of hours ago, Ken Squire.
Indeed. But they're celebrating up in Quebec right now, big time, after that brilliant victory by the young Canadian. Terry Labonte's number 5 coming onto pit road. Nemechek has pitted. Grissom has been in. Seen Andretti come in as well, and Dick Berggren is right there in the Hendrick pits.
Well, Terry Labonte's problem is a bad tire. He felt the vibration. He has come in a bit earlier than he would like to have come in order to make his unscheduled stop. All the rest of the cars will be coming in fairly shortly, but this is a little bit early for a bad tire problem. Labonte on pit road. He is alone here right now.
Spencer is also coming on pit road. Pit stop was 21 seconds, 21 1/10 for car number 5, Terry Labonte. Now making his way back on the track at lap 55.
I'll tell you what, we may get a caution. I don't know if anybody's brave enough to get out there and get this tire that's out in the apron of the racetrack, and we may have to have a caution.
Gone 82, 84, caution free.
There goes somebody's brave enough to get it. I wasn't going to be quite brave enough, would you?
You wouldn't do that job?
No.
That tire came off Jimmy Spencer, who was just on pit road. Averaging 175 miles an hour. And old DW is sticking it out. Darrell Waltrip still in the lead lap. And Steve has an update on that story.
Ken, Jimmy Hensley has had his helmet on since before the race started. Now Ernie and Richard can elaborate on this. The adrenaline must have really kicked in on Darrell. He just radioed crew chief Pete Peterson and said, hey, it feels pretty good out there. But I don't know if he was talking about himself or the race car.
He's about to go a lap down right now. Darrell in the 26th position. Bobby Hamilton on pit road. And Michael Waltrip is on pit road as well. There's Rusty Wallace in, and he's coming back out again. Dick Trickle is making his pit stop now. This is happening at lap 58, 87 miles down.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt in.
Dick Berggren is going to be there as he comes in. Elton Sawyer is just pitted. Sterling Marlin also pitting. Here's Earnhardt.
Well, Earnhardt is making his pit stop, and it couldn't have come at a better time. He has a tire down just as he pitted. The Jackman, the all-pro Jackman we have watched so many times on Earnhardt's car today, is only doing the windshield. Mike Moore has had to replace David Smith, who injured his back this week, practicing to do these pit stops. This is rough work. Earnhardt, a dented left front corner. They pulled it out, and Earnhardt's gone.
Ricky Rudd now on pit road. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Craven, leader Schrader on pit road. This at lap 60. Randy Pemberton is standing by. 90 miles are complete. Randy?
Well, Ray Everham and the crew waiting for the 24 car to come in. The 18 car follows him in as well. He's pitting right behind him. Ray and the guys go to work on the right side of the DuPont Chevrolet. He's been complaining that the car got real tight in the middle, Jeff Gordon said, but it was loose everywhere else. Bobby Labonte has said little about his chassis. He seems to be quite happy. They're on to the left side of the 24 car, likewise on the 18 machine. Tires are on, 2 cans of fuel, down and away, a chassis adjustment on the 24, 18 away as well.
Todd Bodine, who had inherited the lead, now he is pitted. So it's a complete change of the front at 61 laps. I believe Jeff Bodine, number 7, would be given first place. Here's Mark Martin coming back out. Jeff Bodine now pitting. So everyone has been on pit road. There goes the Thunderbat, number 94. Very popular car these days. Darrell Waltrip brings in number 17. Let's see if Hensley will step into that car. Steve Burns.
Again, Jimmy Hensley is at the ready, but I don't think he's going to get out of the car. As I said a moment ago, Darrell feels pretty good. The crew goes to work on the car. He is staying in. He will not get out. The break will be a 4-tire stop. He will not get out.
3 ribs broken 8 days ago on the 5-time champion of this 600. And they built him this armrest to help a little, and apparently he's loosened up, feeling a little better out there.
I tell you, there's no better cure than to get to racing. And Darrell right now is 17th spot. I think he's 1 lap down, and he's going to keep digging.
Well, right now with all these pit stops, they're going to keep him up in that front group in that lead lap for the moment as he comes back out. He was just being overlapped by Schrader. Very quick stop by the Western Auto Group before they got him back on the track. So
looks like the one that really gained on all these pit stops is the number 2 car. Rusty's back up. Once they get settled and everybody makes stops, he's going to be in 2nd place. So he is right behind the 25 car. So he really gained a lot on this.
2nd or 3rd, the 75 and the 25.
Okay, whatever. But anyhow, he was the one that really gained the ground on the racetrack
and got himself to 3rd.
Got him way on up in there, right? Really a lot closer than what he was.
Showing Schrader now as the lead car, and this car, number 75, Todd Bodine in 2nd, with the Rusty Wallace maintaining a 3rd spot out there, and really had a great pit stop. Of course, those people that worked on that car, they're famous for that.
You know, Ken, Todd Bodine is a driver who, well, a lot of people have been thinking would win one of these Winston Cup events this year. This could be his day. Last Saturday night at the Winston Select, he blew the field away, actually, in the Open. He won the 50-lap Winston Open from the back of the field, and in the Select, he really ran very well before running into problems late in the 2nd leg of that event. Started 14th today. He's up to 2nd. His car looks very, very fast.
See Derek Copeland, the number 12. He's gone a lap down. Those 2 leaders coming by. Ken Schrader. And look at that pit time coming up there, Richard.
Yeah, I told you, I knew he made a real good pit stop. He's really good at getting in and getting out. I think he always runs a little bit quicker than some of the rest of them. But anyhow, they don't stay sit still very long either.
And he picked up 4 or 5 spots on the racetrack. The 2 leaders, nose to tail. The 25 of Schrader, and right with him comes Todd Bodine. Ooh. Almost too close for comfort right there. Irvin sitting up here this afternoon. He's on pins and needles because out at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, his truck's running and has been leading. We'll tell you that story later. Take a look at this move here. 3 wide, trickle on the outside.
Okay, check on the 24. Something's happened to him.
Looks like he has a tire down or something.
He went real high in 1 and 2, and he's slowing down coming into the pits this time.
Jeff Gordon on his way in. Something amiss on car number 24. Indeed, he is on pit road. Here he comes down pit road.
I would say it's an unusual problem. Maybe here at Charlotte. Richard, Ernie, you can answer this, but he says he's lost his front brakes. Now, yes, you can see the car wiggle as he comes in. I don't know if they're going under the hood. It looks like they're going to the air duct, but he said he lost his front brakes. That's all. The hood goes up. He said, I'm coming in. So Ray and the guys are going to take a look at it. He's going to go a lap down. Wow.
I wouldn't be real worried about my front brakes right now. Would you, Richard?
Well, I don't know. I did the same thing 3 or 4 races before I quit running anyway. I was over here to run real good, and the front brakes went out. And you don't use brakes. You use the racetrack and you don't use brakes. But I wound up, somebody spun in front of me, and I hit them brakes, and I went around and around and around. So it's very, very unsafe deal. He's doing the right thing, but trying to work on the thing. But I see they're going back out now. Maybe they just told him to go out and be careful.
Ray Evernham walking back. We'll try to get a word from him in a moment. They were running 7th when they had this problem and have gone a lap down.
Well, they're discussing it over here. There was a time that they thought they may have even broken a rotor in the front, but I don't believe that's the case. We're going to try and get a word with Ray here in just a second. We'll let you know.
So the discussion is going on in the Hendrick pits for car number 24, the defending champion. 5 straight finishes of 3rd or better. Will that end today? We'll see. He's being lapped right now as the 75 and 25 roll by, with Todd Bodine now in front. Ken Schrader in 2nd spot. Rusty Wallace 3rd. Dale Jarrett 4th. And Bobby Labonte 5th. Lap 72. Caution is on the track for the leader at 108 miles. Todd Bodine crashes out of turn number 2. Ward Burton apparently involved as well. Parts and pieces lying all around the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. Crowd on its feet. Dramatic change. We expect to see Darrell Waltrip make a driver change here. Here's what happened. What do you think, guys?
I don't know. We got to wait. Sucked the back end out of the 75. You see him make that little bit of bobble, and when he did hit the 31, and that's the way it happens.
Ward Burton's number 31 up into the wall. The 75 of Todd Bodine slithering down to the bottom of the track. Takes him out of 1st place.
Everybody's going to be on pit road now.
Another look here, Ernie.
I tell you, it really looks like to me like, you know, just the aerodynamic thing is what happens in turn 1. They're on the edge, and you know, it wasn't anybody's fault, but you know, that's part of making it to the end of 600 miles.
Ward was back in the 36th position when this incident happened.
Now, Ward didn't cut him down or nothing. He was holding his groove.
Now, a lot of folks watching would wonder how air could move around like that on these cars and get you so loose.
Well,
talk about
the
that.
air doesn't move around. What happened? You got a car and all the air is on it, and then the other man's got a car with all the air on it, and all of a sudden, like when you seen here, Ward got just about a half a car length on him, and that meant there was no wind right behind the 31 car. So the 75 was trying to catch some wind. There's no wind there, so it just sucks it in behind the 31 car, and there he's gone.
Turned him loose.
I tell you, that was one of the best explanations I've heard about it. It's a lot of fans ask me, says, well, how does a car suck the air off your spoiler? It doesn't really, but it eliminates the air off your spoiler.
We've got another replay, and we can see parts and pieces flying, they say here. There's Bodine's number 75. Richard, you were making the point that this isn't quite as serious in the old days. You had those big metal bumpers.
No, that's one thing about it. He drags this bumper all the way around to the 4th turn, and then it comes loose. But that's plastic now, or fiberglass, or whatever. And you can run across it now and can get by a little bit. Used to, if you hit something like that, it would take all the goodies out from under the car. I mean, from the front end of the oil pan, and then it'd go back and get the gas tank. It'd just wipe you out, so there was no chance.
Gordon and them are working on them the brakes, and it looked like they were kind of on fire. So obviously they're having a problem on them.
2 laps down. Yeah.
Go up.
Well, he's definitely got a problem.
Yeah. You know, sometimes the bleeder valve comes loose in those things, and you know, we've had some trouble all during the years.
Randy can give us an update on this barbecue.
Well, Ray Evernham's putting the juice to it from the fire extinguisher. That'll be a temporary fix. That certainly won't fix it. Hey, guys, not only that, he's got an engine problem. It is flat. It was missing. They tried to fix ignition boxes. Just a multitude of problems over the last couple laps for Jeff Gordon. Unreal.
Do you remember they had a problem up there at Richmond, I think, the last time we were working together. They had a problem with some sort of fuel or ignition or something. It looks like they've got the same problem somewhat today.
Here they are back on the track, and we're following Darrell Waltrip, the 5-time champion of the 600, bringing that car down. And I think we're just about ready for this stop, and I believe we're maybe a lap away from getting this back underway.
Here, it looks like Jimmy
Steve Burns is there.
Darrell Waltrip is being pulled out of the car, and this is very painful for him with those broken ribs. Jimmy Hensley now jumping in. They're trying not to lose too much time. Darrell is walking very gingerly He sits down on pit wall while Jimmy Hensley gets strapped in. Obviously, they're losing a lot of time here in the pits. Darrell Waltrip is in a lot of pain. You know how hard it is, how badly it must hurt if he took himself out of this car.
You saw the Reverend Max Helton there with him for just a moment, and there's Stevie Waltrip, his wife as well.
I tell you what, I've had a lot of accidents, broken legs, feet, necks, and everything else. But nothing will hurt you in a race car as bad as messed up ribs. And they'll last you all day long, and there's nothing you can do. You can't move around. You can't make them any better.
Hensley out there. We'll try to get a word with Darrell after a bit. Let's go to Dick Bergen.
Well, you were right when you said that just about everybody pitted, Ken, but one of the cars that did not pit was 25, Ken Schrader, the leader. Here's his crew chief, Ken House. How come? Why'd you stay out?
I might have blown it again, but no, the car's pretty good right now, and it's a long day. Let's rather just stay up front, stay out of trouble, and just keep working at it. Long way to go.
Schrader working at first place now with Rusty Wallace in second, Bobby Labonte in third. Ricky Rudd is in fourth, Todd Bodine fifth, Michael Waltrip sixth, Labonte seventh, and Hutch Strickland back there in eighth.
I tell you, the bad part about staying out, not pitting, is you know, he's not going to be able to go as long on fuel. That'll just put him out of sequence
with everybody else.
It may be the winning deal, though.
Yeah, sometimes it works for you rather than against you. That green came out at lap 77, folks. Getting racy. There's Randy LaJoy down on the inside, working with Ricky Rudd.
Right there with Todd Bodine that just got through spinning out, which you know, Todd's car's not bad. It's only missing the rear bumper is all.
And it's running fifth. In fourth is that Rudd car. So after that altercation out there that tore that number 75 up, Todd Bodine's right back out with the program.
I tell you, I don't know how you do that. You spin out, come in, pit, take your rear bumper off, and still.
Oh, we got a car with a wheel off going down the back straightaway. Let's see who that belongs to. That's off Gordon's car, the number 24, they say.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Here it is, going into turn 3.
Going into turn 3.
Jeff
Gordon, caution is out.
We've obviously had a wheel bearing problem, it looks like, with Jeff Gordon, because there's no other way that front tire could come off. The hub and everything, I think, still hooked to it.
That's just the wheel. They didn't get the lugs on the way it looks right there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they got deep troubles. That's one of them things. No matter how good you run, no matter how things are going, you got to have the right brakes, and he's just getting all the wrong brakes today.
Randy?
No, you got that right, Richard. He had no idea it was coming. They evidently left the lugs loose on the right front. He just came over the radio and said, guys, I got a bad vibration, and that's what happened. We'll try and get a word with Ray Everingham, the crew chief, but they're going to be a little busy here for just a moment.
Yeah, they may not want to be too conversational at this point. So, we now have completed 80 laps. 80 completed of the 400 to be run, and we'll be back with more. Ken Schrader up in front, Wallace in second.
Welcome back to the Coca-Cola 600. Jeff Gordon, the early leader behind the wall. A broken hub on the right front. Speculation is possibly heat buildup from a brake problem, and that possibly could have broken the hub. Ray Everingham and about 9 guys working on. They've also broken a couple of suspension pieces as well, but they're going to replace it. But just a bad day for Jeff Gordon after running so well early on.
NASCAR wants to take a look at that wheel that came off. They've asked to have it taken over to the inspection area there. Remember, he's third in points going into this race. They've just picked up that tire, and they're bringing that in. 17, Waltrip is back in another time with Jimmy Hensley now in the car. Here's Steve Burns.
They decided to come in and change 4 tires. Jimmy Hensley said on the radio, I just need to calm down a little bit. Darrell Waltrip is standing by, actually calling the shots, so to speak.
Good 4-tire change on Waltrip's number 17, and we'll try to get a word with him. You see DW there right now, back on the radio, and got his old war face back on.
Yeah, he really looks serious.
Yes, sir.
He does, doesn't he, Richard?
Yeah, he's been serious. They was pitting in the garage area down there beside us, and he is really, you know, he gets up, and he was up for this whole deal, and then he found out he couldn't make it, and that really bothered him physically and mentally, you know.
He had told me before last week, he said, I'm going to be ready for Jeff Gordon. And I said, well, go out and tell Jeff Gordon.
He did the other day on his TV show. He got in there, and they both were. He said he tried to psych him a little on the start of the Winston Select. Gordon didn't buy it, and neither did NASCAR.
NASCAR didn't buy it either.
I tell you, we've had the start of this race again, and man, who knows what's going to happen next.
84 laps, and they come by this time, Ernie Irvin. And out in front is your old buddy Schrader with Wallace there. Bobby Labonte third, Ricky Rudd fourth, Todd Bodine fifth, Michael is sixth, seventh is Terry, Hut Strickland eighth, Earnhardt up to ninth, and Mark Martin is in 10th. Morgan Shepherd just outside the top 10.
And Dick Trickle's getting a lap back, plus Rusty Wallace is passing Schrader for the lead.
There goes number 2. And there goes the 18, Labonte up through.
I wonder why Schrader didn't pit this last time, too.
Well, it felt so good the last time, he decided to stay with it. Getting a Napa field update here for you, taking you back through the field.
I'll tell you, we also had the 28 car pitted the last pit stop. They must have knocked something off in the valence or something. They were working on a fight front. Me and Richard were looking at that, and it's going to make them in the back. Here goes Rusty Wallace by the lap car of Dick Trickle, it looks like.
And Bobby Labonte staying right there with him. It's a Ford in front, a Chevy in second place at lap 85. And Dick Trickle trying hard to keep that Bud Moore car up in there in that lead lap, and not successful. That leaves 21 cars in the lead lap, and there's Bobby Labonte trying to shoot the gap, coming down the main straightaway. Got him. Can he hold him?
I think Rusty's probably going to let him go right now, but it's not time for the end of the race. But Rusty's going to be there and be there towards the end.
Yeah, he's going to pick on them all day. Every time they look up, he's going to be right either in front of them or right behind them. They don't have any problem.
I tell you, I haven't seen Rusty Wallace this pumped up in a long time. You know, he's ready, and he kept saying, said, I've got more motor this week than I've ever had before, and I'm ready to do something to him.
The 1990 winner, Rusty Wallace, fighting with Bobby Labonte, the youngster. And for sure, the defending champion has been KO'd from this one. Jeff Gordon knocked out early on the 80 lap mark. Ooh.
Got Earnhardt right there. He's ninth.
Gets down to the inside of Todd Bodine.
Look at him shoot the drag.
Todd Bodine comes right with him. Car that got a little shaky up in front of them, I think, was LaJoy in the 22 car coming down. That's that one right there, that black car. Just a couple of cars up from Earnhardt. Looked like he had a handful out of turn 2. Up to 6th spot. Moves Earnhardt. Start today. Todd Bodine.
He started 34th, it sounds like, but Todd Bodine's going right by him and trying to go back to the lead here, it looks like, in a little bit.
Working the 90th lap.
Got back by him.
Leaving us with 21 cars. Rick Mast is on the tail end of this lead lap. Look at Todd Bodine putting on the scrap with Earnhardt and allowing some others to get collected into this group here. Mark Martin coming along very nicely, thank you.
That's kind of how Todd got into trouble last time, is scrapping it with somebody else.
Didn't learn, did he?
I didn't learn, I guess.
Maybe he figured he just got caught last time. He can try it again.
Yeah. But he's young. You know, Todd Bodine's young, and he's aggressive. He wants to win really bad. And, you know, me and Richard were sitting here, and we've been through that, done that, and it usually didn't do very good at it. So,
yeah, and you want to do it again, right?
Oh, I want to do it
It's not that I don't want to do it. I just can't do it.
Dick Bergeron's down there with the crew chief on car 75.
Well, the whoop-de-doo that Todd Bodine did just a little while ago that took him out of the lead was the second accident he's had here in Charlotte so far. The first was in practice, and he called that one his own fault. And if you'd gone into the garage on Thursday, you'd have found Todd Bodine hammering away at the fenders, working on that car. Troy Selburn, crew chief for that car, number 75. How's it going? Can he overcome this accident?
Oh, yeah, that's without a doubt. Todd, with the experience that he's got in the Busch Series and the way they wham and bam there, he's probably the only driver out here that can drive that car in the condition it's in right now.
Well, the back bumper's missing off that car, but Bodine has given it a great ride.
He's a comer, this guy, Todd Bodine, in 7th place, driving for Butch Mock. And Butch Mock won this race back in 1983 with the great Neil Bonner. There he is right after Earnhardt. Earnhardt up to 6th position. Remember that we saw him start 34th in that Chevy today. Car 75 really getting loose that time as it came down the main straightaway and bounced. Ooh, that car, now it is, it looks like it's in bigger trouble than it was before.
Yeah, he's got some trouble right now. There's some smoke coming out of the back, and it wasn't tire smoke, it didn't look like.
Car 75. He'll have to bring that in. There's Marlin scooting under him, and Morgan Shepherd clobbered the fourth turn wall just as he came out. You can see it's bent up some more over there.
Obviously, he couldn't drive it like it was. And he's going to need to be getting to these pits pretty soon, because the problem is sooner or later a tire will blow out here.
You see, it probably hit the wall with the outside, it knocked the housing over just a little bit. All it knocks the 1/8 of an inch, and then it starts rubbing on the left side. That's what it looks like what it's doing now.
Looks like it's running crooked down the straightaway, too.
Hut Strickland, there's Rick Mass going beneath him, down to the tail end of that lap. Joe Nemechek's 87, the Burger King car right there. Wild racing here as we get through 95 laps. Let's take a look. Maybe we can see what happened to the 75 up here in turn 4 on this 1.5-mile track.
It looks like he's too high right there. Ooh. Yeah, he hit pretty hard.
So the Bodines seem to have an affection for that fourth turn wall.
I tell you what, I mean, you know, nothing against Todd Bodine or any of the other drivers. The intensity of this race just takes effect, and you know, that's the problem. You know, you're so psyched up.
Dick Berggren's down there.
Well, the crew has gone to work on the right-hand side of the car, Ken. That's where the majority of damage is at. The rear bumper is missing. There's a little bit of damage to the left rear. One of the crew members now pulling the fender away from the left rear tire. Todd Bodine going down a lap here in the pits. Unscheduled pit stop, tough break. He had such a good run going before he tagged that wall.
22 and 8/10 seconds, number 75 back on the speedway at lap number 97 here in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll be back with more. We've had one caution thus far in the race. We'll tell you about that and about the battle for the lead when we return. Steel aerial camera giving us these pictures of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we still don't have enough altitude to get that helicopter up that carries the equipment for the onboard cameras. Take a look at this as you watch the battle for 6th spot. Earnhardt and Martin side by side in turn number 1, and it is Earnhardt holding on for 6. Martin trying to take it away. Another Ford Chevy confrontation here. You could see Earnhardt having to work a little there off turn 2.
I tell you what, when Mark Martin went into turn 1 and he went into turn 3 right then, Mark is going in there real gingerly, and he knows that if he goes in there side by side, his car is going to get real loose. And the master at that to make somebody loose is Dale Earnhardt, and he knows that that's what's going to happen. So Mark's going in there and making sure he's really stable. Then he's getting back on the throttle.
Is there anybody you would rather race with than Mark Martin?
Oh, I mean, you know, Mark's going to give you every amount of track you need, and you know, he's a real considerate person, and he wants to win just as much as anybody does.
Ernie Irvan won't tell you how considerate Mark is, but when Ernie was so hurt, every night when there was a Winston Cup race, the following day, Mark would fly down to the hospital and tell Ernie, who at that point he was still unconscious, and he'd just sit there and tell you about the race. That's how much he thought of him.
Yeah, I tell you,
it's nice to have a friend like that.
He spent a lot of time at the hospital, and you know, our friendships goes on more than that. So you know, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Well, here he is, Mark Martin, fighting to get himself another victory and turn forward to turn their luck around this year as he comes after Dale. That's the 6th place battle. Bobby Labonte stays up in front with Ricky Rudd right there in 2nd, and Wallace in 3rd. We'll give you an interval on those top runners in a moment so you get a sense of where they are on the speedway. Earnhardt beginning to draw off just a little. There's the group just behind. Morgan Shepherd back there in 7th, the number 21, Sterling Marlin, in that very familiar yellow and red Kodak car. He is running in 9th, and then Hut Strickland right in there in the 26. Now these cars trail the leaders, or the leader, by about 9 seconds. The Terry Labonte car back in the lead lap. It's in 11th spot, started 13th today. Here's 75. Todd Bodine in another time.
We've kind of hit that one on the nose. I mean, when Todd came in and pitted, they just changed tires, and they didn't really fix the problem. So it's going to have to be something. They're going to have to go to the garage area and jack the rear end over a little bit with a Panhard bar or something and get it back.
Dick Berggren can add to that.
Well, we've gotten a radio transmission that they've got a broken Panhard bar. It's about impossible to drive the car with one of those things, and they'll almost certainly have to come in and do some significant work to fix it.
Caution is out around the track at lap 107. Yellow is down. Caution is out again as we see the 75. Badly battle scarred coming on pit road.
I think he's hit the wall again.
He has. Yeah. He's hit it again.
108 laps officially completed here.
Wheels on.
That's right.
He's pretty much, he's going to, theoretically he's done for the day. He's going to be out there getting points, and that's about it.
160.5 miles by. You've ridden a few that look like that, Richard.
Yeah, but not meaning to, but we didn't win no races with it. It was just like he said, you're just out there to be out there, you know what I mean? And the way the points are, they try to get just as many as they can.
Come on, I went to the Albany-Saratoga Speedway years ago and watched you run up on, that's what, 4/10 track or something, and your car looked a lot worse than that, and you still won.
That was short track racing. That's sort of a standard deal there.
I tell you what, if you really think about it, there's very few times that a car goes into victory lane that's even got a scratch on it. So, that's the thing. Bobby Labonte's out there right now, and his car doesn't have a scratch on it. And if he keeps that up all day, he's going to be tough to beat.
That certainly was the case at Nazareth, Pennsylvania, in that Grand National race. They tore everything up but the track itself in that one, and Tim Fedewa came through totally unscathed.
Didn't even have a black mark on the
Didn't have a mark on it. Did a great job.
How many races have you won, Richard, that's your car has been all beat to death? I mean, there's been some times.
Like you say, most of the time, you're the only one on the racetrack. If you win, you're the only one on the racetrack that's not got black marks. That's the reason you won a lot of them.
All the leaders on pit road. This at lap 109.
Rusty Wallace is into the pit area. He is going to try to tighten the car up. That is a bit of a surprise. Yesterday in the Grand National race, no car was too tight. But here they're going to add some more to tighten it up. Randy Pemberton.
Well, the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, is already down and away. They took 1 pound of air out of the left rear tire. He beats Rusty Wallace down pit road.
Wallace came out very quickly. Got it right up to speed. That's the key now, is to get it up to speed as soon as you can to the speed limit on pit road. Here you see the field back out in the turn 1 area. Watching Bill Elliott come back out with the number 94. 20 cars still in the lead lap, and we'll set the field for you when we return. In the third caution of the day at lap 111 with Bobby Labonte in front or Rusty Wallace in second. All the leaders have pitted, and we can get more on the complexion of the race by going down and talking. Oh, they're going to wave that out. We're going to Randy Pemberton right now.
Yeah, that was a tremendous break for Kenny Schrader. He was going to have to pit around lap 120 anyway, so kind of gave him a free stop. He's back out there running fifth. Pretty good race from our standpoint down here in the pits.
Indeed. So the number 2 car finds itself right up in here, and they continue to massage that thing. Are you surprised?
No, I tell you, Rusty was just, 1 round of bite and a little bit of air, and Rusty's one of the best in the business right now to make his car better.
1 lap when they come by this time and they'll start. You see Earnhardt in 6th. Let me take you a little further back. Shepard in 7th, Martin in 8th, Strickland 9th, Marlin 10th, Dale Jarrett 11th, Terry Labonte 12th, Robert Pressley 13th, Bobby Hamilton in 14th, Brett Bodine 15th, then Lake Speed, Ricky Craven back to 17th, Bill Elliott 18th, Jeff Burton, and rounding out the top 20, Rick Mast is on the tail end, and they are all reported in that lead lap. 1 lap to green, and here's Dick Berggren.
Interesting strategy working out down here on pit road, Ken Squire. Remember, Goodyear has brought a new, more conservative tire here. This is not a tire war tire, and we are discovering today it does not fall off very much. In fact, it falls off less than a second a lap in an entire fuel stop. So on that last round, Michael Waltrip just took 2. Remember as well, this race last year was won by Jeff Gordon, taking just 2 tires when Rusty Wallace took 4. Tire strategy will be very important in today's race.
Leader Bobby Labonte had the pole on the Winston Select. He qualified second today, and he is very happy with Joe Gibbs Racing.
I feel like we're a good team growing together, and for just 10 races into the season with Interstate as a sponsor, and they've been in it for a long time. I mean, they're excited, and I know I'm excited. So, you know, I feel like once we grow more and more, it'll just get better and better.
11th in points, just 1 point behind Morgan Shepherd as they came to this 600 today. Jeff Gordon is back out. He was in the garage area, 23 minutes, 18 seconds. Jeff Gordon back on the track, 35 laps down. We're at lap 113 as we resume action after the third caution of the day in the Coca-Cola 600. Labonte up to speed, and Wallace coming after him, and Michael Waltrip having a good day so far, still looking for that first win. Sandwiched in between them a couple of lap cars. There's Dick Trickle and Jimmy Hensley, and I saw a little smoke out of 17. Did you see that?
No, I didn't get to see that, but it could be.
Might have been Trickle. Yeah, Hensley in the number 17. Take a gander here. Trickle going high. Looks like a little wisp of smoke, and here comes Wallace. Wallace on the march, tears down the warpath in the back straightaway, and he's in the first place.
I tell you what, you know, NASCAR did some changes in the last week on the spoilers. You know, right now the Chevrolets have got a 1/4 inch less spoiler in the rear and a 1/4 inch higher on the front air dam. And the Fords have got a 1/4 inch more, and they've got a 1/4 inch lower on the front end. And I tell you, it looks like it's made the racing a little better. I don't think there's as lopsided as the curve.
Well, as a testament to that, you got a Ford, Chevy, and a Pontiac. 1, 2, 3 out there at the present time. Michael Waltrip sticks it on the bottom, goes under Trickle in the 15. Here comes Schrader in the 25, in 4th place, and along with him comes Ricky Rudd in 5th. Back up in front, Bobby Labonte not willing to give up on car number 2, Wallace.
I tell you, you know, Rusty right now has got a lot to prove. You know, Roger Penske and them missed the Indianapolis 500, and I know Roger's probably here right now watching it in the condo. And you know, our hats off to you for being such a sportsman. And you know, Rusty Wallace is leading, and he's wanted to show it to his boss.
After you saw the debacle in the America's Cup and that sailing stuff, look at this battle up front as they go side by side. I'll tell you, the dignity and grace with which Roger Penske handled losing to the defending champion of the race, as well as Emerson Fittipaldi. Boy, I thought that said a lot to the entire sport. The way he didn't try to change the rules, didn't try to do anything, just accepted it and went on with his life. And you're right. In fact, he should be here right about now. He's going to be at Indianapolis, taking care of some sponsor commitments, and then he's going to fly right down here to see if the number 2 car out of the Penske stock car stable could win this 36th annual $1,400,000 600-mile race. Right now, Rusty Wallace has got his hands full with the 29-year-old Bobby Labonte, who looks terrific out there.
I tell you what, I don't think Roger Penske's gonna take that with a grain of salt. He's gonna definitely work a lot harder, and he is gonna be really tough in Indianapolis.
And he took total responsibility. He said, it's my deal, it's my cars, I made the mistake. I can't get over that guy.
I tell you what, they flat doing some racing right here, guys. I mean, y'all talk about Indy, but we got a heck of a race going right here. I mean, they look like it's the last lap. They're really running each other.
120 laps complete at Charlotte. And you're watching car number 25, Schrader, in 3rd. Michael Waltrip back to 4th. We'll stay right here, Richard.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not normally up in the booth, so how many laps is this race?
Oh, it's about 400.
400 laps, okay. We still got a ways to go.
Of course, here at Humpy's track, they might change that before the thing's over.
Yeah, that's true. Humpy's sitting right over here in a booth next to us. If he could hear us, I know he'd be saying, hey, man, don't be saying that. Look at Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett. Now, Dale Jarrett's, you know, he had that unscheduled stop, and he's coming back running in the front.
Jimmy Hensley giving it his all in 17. Dale Jarrett tucking down inside of car number 26 as Huck Strickland comes by. Mark Martin back in 9th position in car number 6.
We have our onboard camera.
It's up there.
All right.
How about that?
We can really take our breath now.
That's a great shot. I tell you, it's a great shot to be able to see that. Oh,
back up in front. Look at this three-way scrap.
Rusty Wallace and Kenny Schrader. Now, they both have a hangar together right up here at the Concord Airport. So I'm sure Schrader's not going to bump him, and Rusty's not going to block him.
Oh,
so.
sure. Yeah, right. We'll hang him right here in turn 4 if he gets a chance. Boy, those two race hard. Here they come. Schrader to the inside. Wallace on the outside.
They keep on racing like this. Earnhardt's going to be right up there with them. He's right there back there about 6th right now, right behind these 4 cars.
I wonder if Schrader's going to give him the thumbs up.
Well, there you see all 6 cars in together.
Yeah. No thumb, right?
What a terrible joke. That's awful.
Yeah, you know.
Poor guy. Ken Schrader lost his thumb out at a truck race the other day, and everybody's giving him the needle.
He didn't lose his thumb at a truck race. He lost his thumb with his hand underneath the hood where he shouldn't be doing it. He knows that.
At a truck race.
Yeah, at a truck race.
Trying to make it.
Had nothing to do with the truck.
Okay, there he comes. Well, Earnhardt's done got a couple of them. Here he comes. I told you when they get to running side by side, and he don't slow up.
And he'll be 3 wide here in a little bit.
To 3rd.
Look at him. Look, I mean, it's unbelievable.
He's up to 3rd now.
Yep.
And Wallace back into the lead. Out of 2. This is lap 124, folks.
I think we may have a little bit of stuff going on with Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace too, because there was some beating and banging going on in the Winston, and Rusty didn't like it, and Dale thought it was funny. So
yeah, if you come out on the winning end, it's always funny. Yeah. You come out on the other end when it doesn't do good.
Right.
Here's Ken Schrader putting the heat on Wallace again. 187.5 miles complete. Wallace, Schrader, Earnhardt. 1, 2, 3. Just behind them, Michael Waltrip, Rudd, Labonte, Bobby Labonte, and Sterling Marling.
All in a single line. Throw a sheet on all of them.
That's why stock car racing is so good. It's unbelievable how close the cars are.
You know, other times when they first started the race, they all got separated. And you said, man, this is going to be dull. And then all of a sudden, here's 8 cars racing for the lead.
Yeah, and look where they are at only 126 laps. Back to the inside. Schrader looks inside of Earnhardt. He took off part of that thumb working on his super truck. Kenny Schrader, how bad did that hurt?
Wow, it was big. It seemed like about 10 seconds. I'm sure it was just a couple seconds, but it wouldn't go because it was up against the bracket. The belt kept turning over. The pulley kept cutting it from the bottom, and then it was like, okay, I just got to wait a second because it's going to be free, and then the tube popped off.
Easy for him to say now.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, it sounds funny now, but it wasn't too funny when it was happening.
Look at that. Whoa! Well, see, now there, I told you there was a little bit of stuff. Now look, Rusty's ball batted the wall there and
made a boo-boo there, and the 3 cars get by him.
Yeah. Right up to 3rd and going to 4th, and now into 5th goes Marlin.
We got 15 lead changes already today.
Yeah, we ain't got started good.
No, I think Dale Earnhardt's took the lead for the first time today, and Schrader's not going to put up with it. He's going to try to get back to the lead.
Here's Schrader looking onto the inside of Dale Earnhardt. Ricky Rudd up in there now. Boy, those rule changes seem to have really made the difference. Everybody's in there pretty good together. Here comes Schrader down to the inside, but take a look at this moment. Wallace leading.
Looks like Rusty just got a little bit loose.
What he done, he made a little bit of the deal. There again, with a car right that close to him, just loosened his car up just so little you can't hardly tell it, but just enough that he moves out that extra foot and runs into the wall.
For the lead, it's still Earnhardt, Schrader, Rudd, Michael Waltrip.
Kenny Schrader's not going to give up. He wants to lead this race. He's had a really bad couple weeks here at Charlotte. You know, during one of the practice sessions, he had a radiator hose come off. He wrecked one car. Then he, in practice for the Winston qualifying, he wrecked another car. And then he had another car that he was in on the Winston and got in a wreck there too. So 3 cars in 3 weeks, and Kenny Schrader's, and and a half a thumb. So, but he's ready to go.
He sure is.
He's down there trying it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So hungry.
He's not going to let him with it. There he goes.
Schrader back in at another time. And this time he regains the lead.
I'll tell you, that power plant.
There's the old Earnhardt move.
The patented move right there. Schrader ain't going to leave it down. Schrader's got a lot of power.
See, when Earnhardt makes that move, it's not Earnhardt doing it. It's the other man making a mistake, and Earnhardt takes advantage of it. That's exactly what he did right there.
Yeah. Earnhardt definitely, when he turns down from the outside to the inside, that just automatically takes the air off the car in the front and gets the car in the front loose and slows it down. And then he just gets on with it.
But you don't see that many people ready to stick it back down in there. Earnhart always is there.
Yeah, I tell you, there's all sticking it in there right now.
Yeah,
there's 4 of them, 5 of them all in this one little group.
Michael Waltrip on the bottom. Ricky Rudd up on the outside, back there 3rd, 4th. Sterling Marlin 5th. Rusty Wallace 6th. And look at this duel for the lead.
All makes of all cars. I mean, a Pontiac before.
Yeah, even got a Pontiac in there.
Yeah,
they're doing good today, man.
You're not doing so bad, Richard. You're back there in 17th. Still in the lead lap.
The 8 car looks like they've had a little bit of trouble here.
Jeff Burton is slowing down in the back straightaway. I think he may be pitting. We'll stay right here with this battle for the lead. Back to the stripe. Earnhardt in front. Ken Schrader, who's tried so many times to win this race, his 11th start, came to finish 2nd in 1991 behind Davey Allison. The Ricky Rudd story. Steve Burns has it.
After the last pit stop, see one off the wall.
Hold on just a moment. Car number 94. That's Bill Elliott. And he has socked the wall hard.
The Batmobile.
Running in 18th position. Bill Elliott's number 94 is going to bring out the 4th caution of the afternoon.
Lap 134.
Getting ready to clamber out, taking off the steering wheel is Bill Elliott in the McDonald's car. We'll take a break, come back and show you what happened here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway to Bill Elliott. Back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with 136 laps complete and under a yellow condition again. First man off pit road was Michael Waltrip, and 3 others also beat Earnhardt onto the track, and we'll give you that story in a moment. Ernie Irvin, Richard Petty alongside. Let's look again and see if we can discern what happened to car number 94 here. Ooh, he's already in the wall.
I talked to the spotter. I was making a pit stop myself, and I talked to the spotter from Bill Elliott. They said he cut a tire down. Could have run something over.
Yeah, he got into the wall before he got to the corner.
Yeah, running the tail end of the lead lap. And the Thunderbat has its wings clipped here this afternoon.
I tell you, Bill Elliott was one of the cars in practice that looked real good, and hate to see it for him. It's just part of racing.
First year as an owner driver, not very auspicious for Bill Elliott.
I don't think it's the first year.
Well, in the current years.
Yeah, current years.
That's right. Back when he came back here.
First year back.
76 is the first time he was here.
Now this is.
But I'm not so sure about what his dad owned. George, I'm not so sure.
Pretty much the same.
About the same.
Yeah. I was in that family-owned business deal.
Yeah.
Brother owned it 1 year, Daddy owned it 1 year, I'd owned it 1 year, my wife had owned it 1 year, but it's still Petty Enterprise owned the whole thing. One of them kind of deals.
Let's go to Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, we saw quickly some in-car pictures from Bill Elliott's Thunderbat. As you said so artfully, his wings were clipped. He laid down some special effect sparks down into turn 1. Want to show you the other in-car cameras we have for you here tonight in the STP Communication Center. We're on board with Mark Martin and his Valvoline Ford. We had trouble getting our helicopter up in the air because of the weather conditions here today, but we are flying, and that means we can bring you these pictures. So Mark Martin close to the head of the show. Bobby Hamilton and Richard Petty's STP Pontiac. We're on board with Bobby this afternoon as well. Jeff Bodine has taken us along for a high-speed ride in his Exide Ford today. And Jeff is right behind the pace car, so he may have the restart lead as we get ready to go back green here in just a moment. And we're going to also be able to take you on board with Ted Musgrave and the Family Channel Ford out of the Roush Stables. We're looking actually out the back bumper area of Musgrave's car back at Mike Wallace's Junie Donlevy Ford. So those are the car cameras that we have for you. And there we take a look at Ted with the visor up, hand out the window, and just kind of taking things easy at the moment in car number 16. And Ted hoping to get to the front of things here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway when we get back to green, Ken Squire.
120,000 folks bought every seat there was months in advance to see this 600. Hey, we can look at that Bill Elliott incident from inside the car from number 94, gentlemen. Here's how it looked to Bill Elliott. Ooh.
Yeah, it happens that quick, too.
Yeah, wow. I thought I was in it. Man. It does feel just like that, too.
Is that right?
I know you've never had that happen to you, but
never happened. Right?
Probably not in that exact location.
No, I'll tell you the same thing. Somebody threw a beer can out, and I hit one up there in one of the 600s. Yeah. Come tearing along. I don't believe I ever hit a wall a whole lot harder. Just run along there all by yourself, and bam, all yourself in the wall. And of course, I don't think that's what happened there. He just, like you said, it shows there. He just run along, and bam, that's it. That's how quick it happened.
Let's go to Dick Bergman.
Well, Rusty Wallace just had a terrible pit stop, Ken. 25.5 seconds. The problem, Paul Vanderland's air gun broke. Billy Wilburn right now is working on it. They're trying to get it apart. Even the screws on this thing don't want to come apart so they can try to fix it. Wilburn's going to do the best he can. He's a good sprint car racer. You got to be able to fix anything.
Well, the captain will have new guns down there for the next one, you can be sure.
I'll tell you, there's probably new guns this time. You just can't know. I mean, Rusty's had a lot of trouble with lug nuts sticking. I mean, they probably make their own lug nuts to try to make them better. They'll get the best that anybody can buy.
In 15th is Rusty Wallace, and you're on board with Mark Martin, who is in 5th. The front of the field, Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, and Mark. Well, they got the light on for Jeff Bodine here in the Exide battery, car number 7. They want him on pit road for a stop and go out there, Ernie.
Seems like he was speeding on pit road is what they're saying. I guess he's going to have to complain to Tanya about that one.
Nice. 33rd position is where he is right now, and that's where he's been a lot of the year. This has not been a good year for Jeff Bodine, and it's not getting any better here in the 600. Look at this struggle, 30 and 4. By the way, Hensley's Darrell Waltrip, number 17. They're showing it back in the lead lap.
Yeah, he's just leading. He's just that close to being in the lead lap. They pass him back. He's a lap down. You got him off to a good start then.
30, Michael Waltrip leading. Marlin 2nd, Rudd 3rd, Earnhardt 4th.
I tell you, Randy, I know you can probably hear us. I wonder if Michael Waltrip only took 2 tires on this time. Be something to check on.
Randy, if you get an opportunity, did Michael only take on a couple of tires is the question from Ernie Irvin. There's the battle for the lead.
Well, Ernie, the answer is this time around, Michael Waltrip took 4 tires. The time before that, he took just 2, so he's on 4 fresh ones right now. And it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference in speed as to whether he's taken 4 or 2.
Tell you what,
he must have had a great pit stop. I mean, that crew's never been the one that normally gets out of pit road first. And Michael's struggled a lot of years, but man, he's really doing it today.
Hensley hanging tough in the 17, trying to stay in that lead lap. He's been on the outside now for the last 3 laps, and he's getting a little help at the moment from Sterling Marlin. Michael Waltrip down to the bottom, slipping back a spot from the lead with Ricky Rudd right there, and you see Bobby Labonte moving into it. Here comes Marlin down to the inside now.
Car worked pretty good to go from the outside groove to the inside groove with the car behind you and in front of you.
Right. That 4 car's been tough here. They wrecked the 1 car and come back with this other one. That's the same one he had run really good with a Darlington, or won Darlington with. So Sterling Marlin's going to be tough all day here. We saw there's his pit crew watching us on TV. He was on one of the satellites.
4th time this year that Sterling Marlin carried those colors up into lead. Reviewing a little further back, Schrader is 6th, Mark Martin is 7th, Dale Jarrett 8th, Strickland 9th, Morgan Shepherd 10th, Terry Labonte hangs 11th, Craven is 12th. Then in 13th, Robert Pressley. So those 2 rookies that are tied at 106 points each are in there, even Steven in the race too.
I tell you, here comes Schrader. We just passed up him, but Schrader was really coming right now.
riding with Jeff Bodine here. Just in front of him, Steve Grissom in the 29. Grissom in the 30th spot. Back up in front. Checking out for the moment is Sterling Marlin. He's drawn away by about 20 car lengths.
Like two or three laps.
You see some of the interval there for a moment between Sterling Marlin in the 4, Ricky Rudd in the 10. There's that interval. They come blazing down this main straightaway. Well, this tri-oval shape on this track, how many turns do you consider you run around to get around this thing?
I guess, you know, you could actually get the front straightaway as being 2 turns, and then you got turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, so you got 6 corners.
Yeah, but you don't drive the racetrack like it. You drive the racetrack like it's just a big bend from 4 back down to 1, and you just make one, like just about make one corner, one curve turn off of 4, and never turn the steering wheel, and you go in an arc and wind up in the right place down in number 2.
Like a D.
Right. And that's about the way you do it. It's just a crooked straightaway is what you wind up doing.
That's all it is. Okay, the lights are on at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You start seeing the cars have some reflection on them. And, that's really unique.
You start glistening now, don't you?
Yeah, they do. They're looking faster now.
It does. It really looks a lot quicker when they turn the lights on.
But it always did on any short track you went to. You know, you'd see it in the afternoon. Ooh, we got trouble going into turn 1.
2 car.
The number 2 car of Rusty Wallace is slammed into the wall hard in turn 1.
So he's wiped out.
He did that right under the condo where Roger Penske's at. I'd almost venture to say that had something to do with what he did in
that part didn't worry me. It was right in front of that 43. That's the one that always bothers me when they have a deal like it.
Well, there's Rusty Wallace's car number 2 dragging itself back to pit road at lap 152 after it struck the first turn wall. Fifth caution of the day after Rusty Wallace socks the wall going into turn number 1. How fast do you go in there, Ernie?
Oh, you know, probably about 195 miles an hour.
Well, here he is.
Oh, see.
Ooh, he got tagged.
Yeah.
Big time.
So that's what I was telling you. The way that car was wrecked, I told you on the break, I said, something else has happened. You know, it wasn't just that Rusty hit the wall. I don't really know what car it was that got with him. Oh, okay. Looked like Rusty had to let off the throttle for the 15, and looks like
wasn't that Craven's car?
No,
no,
it looks like the
Presley.
33 car.
It's
Run into the
Robert
back
Presley.
of him.
Caught him just right.
Presley's 33 car. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
What happened? Got hit in the rear end coming through the tribal. Car was really running good, running great. As a matter of fact, we had an air gun broke on us in that last pit stop. It got me way in the back, charging back to the front, and all of a sudden I'm coming through the tribal. And next thing you know, I'm in the rear. I got hit in the rear end and flying down the straightaway backwards. So that's just racing.
Car's torn up badly. It's in the garage.
Tough one for Rusty Wallace out of this race.
It almost looked like Rusty had to lift because the 15 car had another problem or something, and Rusty had slowed down, and you know, the 33 car run into the back of
All
him.
you do is bobble when everybody's running the same speed.
Let's take a moment now and look forward to another Winston Cup race upcoming this year here on TBS. We've just gone green, lap 156, 234 miles complete. Mark Martin has jumped out in front. Morgan Shepherd is now second after this pit stop for the Rusty Wallace crash. Ricky Rudd third, Earnhardt fourth on the restart.
The 90 car looks like he's trying to get a lap back, and looks like Morgan Shepherd's racing Mark Martin for the lead. I think Mark Martin only put 2 tires on.
Mike Wallace, Heilig Meyer's car number 90, up in front for the moment. To ride with Mark Martin and slide back a little here. Ricky Rudd making the move to the inside, taking second. Martin back to third. Earnhardt stays right in there as they continue to switch positions up in front of this restart. Going a little further back in the field, Dale Jarrett 6th, Michael Waltrip 7th, Schrader is 8th, Bobby Labonte 9th, Terry Labonte in 10th, Lake Speed 11th, Craven 12th. Mike Wallace, who was leading in the Grand National race yesterday and came to naught, got crashed out of that race. The Chad Little one. Well, he's making up a lap right here, staying in 18th position on the tail end of that lead lap.
I don't think he's going to stay ahead of him much longer because they're coming.
Morgan Shepherd now in the lead, and Mark Martin. They each took 2 tires. 10 different leaders so far in the race. The 600 record is 16 different leaders in this event back in '88.
Well, you ain't even run halfway yet, then. You got a long way to go.
This is a real competitive race. I mean, it's probably the most competitive Winston Cup race we've had.
Ricky Rudd getting hung out to dry on the inside.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt on the outside, and that's his groove.
With Marlin. And here comes Dale Jarrett beginning to move.
Yep.
28 car.
Yeah, I tell you, this is our first chance to see Dale Jarrett up in the front. I know that they practice really well, and they look really good for the race.
Still, the number 90 has made up that lap. Stays 18th on the field, just in front of the leader, Morgan Shepherd. Earnhardt 2nd, Marlin 3rd, Jarrett to 4th, and Michael Waltrip having a great day, back into 5th position. Here's Ricky Rudd up on the outside of him in the number 10 car, and just outside of that group comes Mark Martin in 7th, Schrader in 8th, Bobby Labonte 9th. On board with Mark Martin. You really begin to get a sense of those lights, and they'll play an even more important role. Here comes Bobby Labonte wheeling up the outside around Mark Martin. Boy, he has done some running.
Doesn't act like that 2-tire change was real good for Mark Martin. Probably the last time they do it. Here we are, 3 wide and going into the turn 3.
They got by with it.
Yeah.
That time.
That time, yeah.
So Shepherd has put the Wood brothers forward back in the lead. He had started 10th on the day. And Earnhardt, if you're just joining us, started in 34th, and he's now up in 2nd. And Richards, you're shaking your head on that one.
No, I'm just shaking my head just watching this race and watching that many people that close after this far in the race. And they're racing like there's no tomorrow, which is great, I know all of them feel good about it, and it's great to watch. From that standpoint, this, like Ernie said a while ago, this is what Winston Cup racing is all about. Is when them cats run side by side and somebody passes them, you don't just let them go. You go back. If you get a chance, you pace him back, and it's just back and forth, back and forth.
17 cars remain in the lead lap. Jeff Gordon in and out several times. Let's go to Dick Bergman.
Well, Mark Martin took just 2 tires on that last round of pit stops, Ken. Steve Beal, is that what's causing the car to drop back, only 2 fresh ones?
Yeah, we weren't really strong enough to drive to the front and lead the race at that point. We thought we only had 16 laps on the tires. We just get 2 and get our 5 points for leading. It's kind of a handful on hot lefts and cold rights, but it'll be okay after a while. We'll be fine.
These guys are really cool. I'd watch them about, somewhere around lap 390.
Well, if they're cool, this group here certainly isn't, right, Ernie?
I tell you,
Look at this racing.
These guys are cool. They're really standing on the gas. And I think these drivers are trying this hard this early in the race because the main thing, everybody's wanting to lead, and everybody's wanting to prove to their sponsor that they're doing a good job.
And the man that's leading, what would you expect? You're in Earnhardt country.
That's every day. Dale Earnhardt, they pay for the end, but he thinks they pay for every lap, and that's just his philosophy.
Yeah, if they run the lap, he wants to lead it.
That's right.
Take a look at this move as Dale Jarrett sinks his teeth in and goes after Morgan Shepherd.
He seems to have it together right now. He's been really, really good. Like I say, he's just sort of picked his way through a little slow at a time and all that stuff, and then they got to working in the pits and got him behind a little bit, but now he's been able to kind of make it back up. So Looks like he's taking it cautious. He didn't just drive on down under that man because he knows that back end can take off if he gets in that right direction.
All of that for second place as Earnhardt leads. Sterling Marlin back to second. Dale Jarrett falls back to third. Rudd is in fourth. Just behind him, Schrader, Waltrip, Terry Labonte. Mark Martin just on the tail end of that group, holding ninth. They continue to shuffle those positions. Martin picking up a little steam here. Up front, there's the interval between first and second as Earnhardt tries to win it again. Earnhardt first, Marlin second, Ricky Rudd the third, Ken Schrader right after him in fourth position. And the 28 that had been running in fourth position at lap 170, we're now at 173, going behind the wall. Here's where it began to slow down.
You can see it smoking there. It looks like something like a right rear hub, or it's really hard to say, you know what I mean? But they got some kind of bad problem with it.
Dick Berggren can tell us more.
The problem, Ken, is a right rear hub that has apparently almost completely seized up. What Jarrett came down pit road to be sure of what it was, Larry McReynolds actually jumped over pit wall way up the pits and lay on his stomach on pit road to see what had happened. Right now, NASCAR has just told them move the car forward. McReynolds is unhappy about that. They want to make this change as quickly as they possibly can. They've just lost some more time. Jarrett, a heartbreaker, losing the right rear hub after leading the race.
175 laps complete, 262 miles this time by.
I tell you, you just don't really lose a right rear hub. It's got to be something, you know, a little bit different. I mean, you know, Richard, the pieces are made so well now that you just don't all of a sudden lose one.
Yeah, like you say, that's, well, that you will lose one sometimes. But the deal is everything is so precise. They fit those wheels. They do it every race. They change all the bearings and all this stuff. And all it takes is just one little mistake or one piece of dirt or anything in that thing, and then it wipes itself out. And that's probably what happened in this deal.
Dick Berggren.
Well, I got a question for Ernie Irvin. Ernie, this is the same car you drove in the fall of 1993 here, led all but 6 laps, went on to win the race. Remember that day here at Charlotte?
Yeah, I tell you, I remember that day. I told Jeff Gordon, I bet him the other night that he couldn't lead as much in 600 miles that I led in 500 miles. So obviously he's not going to do it.
No, he's back.
You won your bid, right?
Right.
He's 35 laps down. He's back out on the track, and Gordon is being shown in 37th position right now.
That was all just in fun. You know, me and Jeff were talking, and you know, that was a great day for us. But you know, we got a heck of a race going on here. And, it doesn't really matter what I did a year ago and what the King did 2 years ago or whatever. Man, we got a heck of a race going on.
Indeed, right at the moment, you've got Sterling Marlin closing in on Earnhardt for first place.
I tell you what, I've been timing these cars, and it really doesn't make any difference who's leading the race. They're running about the same speed. But you can tell that by looking at the group. It's just, you know, 10 or 15 cars staying pretty much where they're at. The deal is just that they all run in the same speed, and it's just whoever gets the right tires and makes a better pit stop than another, and that's the position they're on the track.
I tell you, that's what I saw yesterday in practice. I mean, you know, clocking cars. I mean, there would be a lot of cars that would run 31 or 30, 50, 30, 60 just all time. I mean, you know, 20, 30 laps. And that's what Richard's saying is most of the cars in the top 10 are running the same speed.
143.1 up there at the average speed for the race, present time. And we're beginning to hone in on halfway. 180 laps at 200 complete. Gordon is coming back on pit road another time. He's game. He's still out there trying to score points and stay up in the standings, but he's well back and off the pace. Last year's champion. Jeff Gordon having trouble early. Earnhardt from way back in the field. Nobody's come from further back than 20th. Right now, he's come from 34th to be in command. Riding now with the Exide Batteries car, number 7. Jeff Bodine back in 29th spot. get himself any kind of a race these days. And he has certainly had his hands full.
I tell you, Jeff Bodine's truck ran second today with, well, who's the guy that drives his truck?
One of them Yankee guys.
Yeah, he's a Yankee guy. Yeah.
And Joe Rutland was where? Your guy? Fourth. You led for a while today, didn't you?
We when I came up here to the booth, we were leading at the halfway point, but you know, they don't pay for that, so we didn't get to collect the turkey.
Is that how they're paying you off these days? Remember, did you ever race for dinners?
Oh,
you raced out in California?
You know, I raced for pretty much anything.
Main thing he raced was the win. Didn't worry about what it was paying, and that's the difference between racers and non-racers. You know, a lot of people just run for the money. They don't win very much. They're not there very long. Some kids who run every day, every week for nothing. Main deal is they're so competitive. All they want to do is win.
You see Musgrave out there running just in front of that Bodine car. Bodine is being shown 2 laps down. Musgrave up there, from side by side again up in front. Here's Schrader at it with Rudd for 3rd spot. We saw Musgrave in that picture a moment ago. He is being shown 23rd, a lap down. And Jeff Bodine is being shown well back, let's see, 29th. Also in there was the 11 car. And it is not in the lead lap, it is back.
We were talking about racing, doesn't matter what it pays. I mean, Kenny Schrader's one of them that we're sitting showing him right now. And he's one of them that'll race for whatever. I mean, whether they're paying turkeys or anything, Kenny Schrader likes to race.
It shows that when he runs 4 or 5 races a week.
That's right.
And then he runs the weekend with the Winston Cup. I mean, if they got a racetrack, he's like Bobby Allison used to do. If they got a racetrack, he's going to be there. If he's got a car, he'll borrow a car and then make sure he gets in the race.
The Brett Bodine car stays just on the tail end of the lead lap. It is in 15th position for 2nd spot.
Going to 2nd.
Schrader back to 2nd.
He must have heard me tell him that they was going to pay for turkeys or something. he gave me the thumbs up going by. I don't know.
Whatever that means. Huh?
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of lead. That's about as big a lead as they've had all day, I think.
Well, Gordon had a lead like that in the first 20 or 30 laps. Didn't hold on.
Didn't hold on. Somebody else come on. Schrader was one of the guys that I think passed Gordon for the lead.
Schrader, whose last win was back in '91 at Dover. Long time between
is that
wins.
Right? Yeah. I mean, as good as he runs, you know, day in and day out, he's just pretty regular deal.
This is one of the places he really runs good at, and it's one of the, I think it's before Dover, this is one of the places he won at.
And that 30 car, Michael Waltrip, still looking for that first win.
That's he's really giving her a good go today.
Hey, the way his year is, he's just looking for a good finish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Do you guys believe in numbers? If you believe in numbers, Sterling Marlin won his first race in number 279 down there at Daytona that time. This is race number 279 for Michael Waltrip in car 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. You know, if you're one of those numbers guys.
I think I won mine in like 70-something, 79 maybe or something like that.
That a year, or was that the number? Well, that was that when we're talking about Petty now.
I'm not that
old. I'm further back than that, man. Try 1959 or 1960.
Richard won his first race in 1959, we say, and that was the year I was born. So we're talking about numbers.
Talk about Jeff Bodine here for a moment as he tries to move under Brett Bodine, who is running 15th with car number 11.
We've seen them two before.
Yeah, right. Hello, Indy. We're going to take a break and be back. We're at lap 189, folks, in the Coca-Cola 600, as Earnhardt is where he so often is, right out in front. We're back with you at the 600, and Ken Schrader has just assumed the lead. He swept around Earnhardt in number 3 to go back up in front. The Chevys are running first and second. Take a look at this pass that made the difference. Give Schrader that lead. Just motored on by.
He's motored on by, motored right down in the corner, and then moved up in front. Watch, they didn't show it all, but anyhow, he moved up in front of Earnhardt, so Earnhardt couldn't get a run to start back at him. Pull an Earnhardt deal on him.
Yeah, but he cut off Earnhardt's traditional move to come back down. He held him right in there. And that's where they stay right now, and Rudd closes up in third. Coming to halfway.
This is a whole lot like, this race is a whole lot like Talladega with Daytona, the draft and stuff. Anytime you get there and you get two cars running side by side, they catch up quick. This is the first time I've really ever noticed them catching up that quick at Charlotte, but it really shows from here.
We saw Jeff Gordon has now stepped out of the car, back in the garage area, and he has retired from the event, I believe. We're waiting for the official word from NASCAR that they've packed it in on car number 24.
I tell you, Richard, I noticed that the last couple days, it's the draft has been way more effective than it ever has at Charlotte. I was listening to the radio with Mark Martin yesterday, and he kept saying, he says, I can't believe what the draft is doing. I mean, you know, it's never been a deal. The draft has always been something in the Busch car, but it's really effective today.
You can look at it right here, guys. Here is Jeff Bodine in the 7, just in front of him, the 16 of Musgrave. Musgrave running in 23rd, and a lap further back is this Bodine car, and you can really see it happening out there.
Right. He's really coming on him. You know, when they come off the corner, here he comes. And he's probably going to pull out and try to pass him right now.
Guys, I hate to say it, but I think I had a little trouble with my 43 car there. I see he's slowed down and running around there a little slow now. He's been running pretty good, you know, 12th, 15th all day long, but it looks like he's coming in for some kind of difficulty, and I doubt if they can fix it.
13th is the position he was in as he brings it on to pit road. Bobby Hamilton bringing in number 43.
Everything looks all right, Richard.
Yeah, but it doesn't slow down.
They say it's got a bad vibration.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's some tires on it. Go.
Maybe they can get lucky with it. But he's been running the same lap with him, and this is going to put him a lap down. That always hurts.
I'll just make him have to try and fight harder.
2 laps to halfway. And Bobby Hamilton back underway. The STV Pontiac coming out, checking those gauges, doesn't want to get over that speed limit on pit road.
Sterling Marling, Michael Waltrip,
Bobby
Labonte, and Terry Labonte. They're all 4 running nose to tail, and the draft just took him right by him.
4th, 5th, 6th in that group.
Yeah.
Laps led at halfway. Chevrolet dominating with 164 as we come to 200. Ford has led 27, and Pontiac 9. Pontiac's getting back into this.
They led some anyway.
That's the best they've been. So like you say, that's a positive note.
And Michael Waltrip looking real racy in that number 30. It's still Schrader with the lead. Ken Schrader out in front at halfway. In the 2nd spot, it is Earnhardt. And look at Bobby Labonte making that move inside of Sterling Marlin. Sterling fading back. Michael Waltrip picking up another spot. And here comes Terry Labonte. See Kyle Petty down on the inside. He's running a couple of laps, maybe 3 down now, back in 30th position.
Looks like Ricky Rudd is just about to run Dale Earnhardt down, and going to pass him and be in a hunt for the lead.
Morgan Shepherd right back up, and what a good year Shepherd's having. He's up in the point standings for the Winston Cup Series with a good, consistent mark. This 95 finish was that 3rd down at Talladega. It's kept him up in the top 10. He's been in and out of that top 10 for a while. Robert Pressley
must have had an unscheduled stop. Up 42 car had a stop.
He's 3 back. Kyle Petty just coming out. Robert Pressley has come back on the track. We've come to halfway in the 36th annual Coca-Cola 600, and Ken Schrader has the advantage. Earnhardt's in 2nd, then Rudd, Bobby Labonte, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, and Sterling Marlin all running together with Morgan Shepherd.
Maybe it's scheduled stuff. There's a lot of cars starting to pit. So
we green flag pit stops. They should be coming up soon, folks. 204 laps have been completed.
We're starting to have them.
5 cautions thus far in the race for a total of 23 laps. I'll give you a complete halfway rundown shortly.
Well, I told you, Ricky Rudd was chased Dale Earnhardt down, and it looks like he's going to pass him, and Schrader's just not much ahead.
Talk about a rundown. Here comes Rudd with a vengeance in that tie car. So it's Schrader, Earnhardt, and Rudd, the top 3 in the 600 as we come to halfway. Back with the second half after this.
Hey, race fans, Budweiser asks who won May 28, 1989 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Series championship contender Rusty Wallace in his Pontiac, the 27. And car number 7, the Ford pole sitter Alan Kulwicki, showed plenty of early muscle in the 600-miler. Darrell Waltrip came to Charlotte as the defending race champion, but a broken sway bar bracket threatened to knock the 17 car, very colorful this year, out of contention. Other drivers fighting for the victory included the 5 car of Jeff Bodine and the Budweiser car driven by Terry Labonte. But who won? Here's the list of contenders. The answer after the break. With a little patience, Darrell Waltrip scored his 5th 600-mile victory on this day. What also helped DW was the demise of other top contenders. Rusty Wallace, with a blown motor, finished only 31st. And after leading the most laps, pole sitter Alan Kulwicki also lost an engine and lost his chance to win. Waltrip's path was now clear. He had to overcome his on-track deficit from those earlier problems, but he did that handily, winning his 4th victory of the year, 77th overall in Winston Cup competition. Who Won is brought to you by Budweiser. For that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud.
The Steel area camera giving you this great view of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where Ken Schrader is continuing to lead at lap 212. We're working the 212th lap at the present time, putting the lap on Brett Bodine. We just saw Grissom on pit road. Musgrave has just pitted. We saw Rusty Wallace come back on the track. That was at lap 211. There you see him with the front end taped up. It looked like he took a punch in the nose. Actually took a punch in the tail end of that car that sent him spinning into the first turn wall.
And then punched the nose.
The 90 is in. Mike Wallace. 17, Hensley pitting.
6 car.
6 car is in.
Again.
That's the 9th place car, Mark Martin. And the 33 is also in. Rick Mass is in, number 1.
And they're putting 4 tires on Mark Martin this time.
Yeah, they figured that other deal wasn't the way to go, right?
It didn't work.
4 cars in.
4 car. They're running. 4 car was. I don't know who's driving that thing again. It's Sterling Marlin is. Yeah.
He was 7th or 8th, I think.
Yeah. And Gordon is back out again. Remember, we saw him out there chatting a while ago. He's back in the race another time. Well over 40 laps down. Ricky Craven just pitting, car 41. He's running in 10th position.
Here comes Earnhardt in the pits.
Leader coming on pit road.
Oh, had to lock him up because the 27 car was going to turn in front of him.
The 27 car is running the legal speed limit down through there, and Earnhardt wasn't. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's probably it. It's amazing how much Earnhardt gained.
Michael Waltrip from the Penzo Pontiac and needed this stop. Chuck Hewitt and the guys go to work. Already done with the right side. This pit crew getting better and better as the year goes on. 2 cans of gas going in, second one already in, and the Pontiac is down and away. Dick?
Dale Earnhardt in for his scheduled stop. This is precisely where they wanted to fit. It was a good stop for Dale Earnhardt. 2 new men on the crew tonight.
Saw the leading Pontiac come in. That was Michael Waltrip, the leading Chevrolet, and the leading Ford is still out there. Ricky Rudd in number 10. Now here's Schrader, overall leader in the race. That will push Rudd up into the lead. He had been in second.
Ricky Rudd
and Rudd's pitting.
Rudd almost spun coming off pit road.
Come on so hard.
Yeah.
Well, Ken Howes and the guys go to work on the Budweiser Chevy. They're going to make a track bar adjustment on this car. He's trying to get this car tightened up just a little bit right now. Already around to the left-hand side. There goes the wrench goes in to make the track bar adjustment. 2 turns around. Already done. Good stop for Schrader's team. Steve?
Randy, Ricky Rudd pulling off a pit road. He just radioed into his crew. He said, I think I have a right front tire going down. The crew is very excited about the stop. They've got him down and away.
Bobby Labonte has inherited the lead in car number 18. Lake speed, and 9 is up to second.
I tell you, see, the way Schrader and them made a track bar adjustment, they can do that in the pits now, and they have a weight jack bolt that hooks to the track bar, and they can go up or down with it. It takes about 8 or 10 rounds to actually make like a ½ inch, I think.
There comes Monty in. He was leaving. Coming in making his pit stop.
Joe Gibbs, number 18, eases on in. Here's Randy.
Well, the 18 car has made a nice stop. Jimmy Maycar and the guys go to work. Jimmy on the jack. He is the crew chief on this car. Already around the left side. Left side tires him off. Second can of gas goes in. Cleaning the windshield. He's revving the engine. Guns it and gone.
It was a good stop.
327-mile mark was where they made that stop for the Joe Gibbs car. And look at this racing.
No matter what, they make them pit stops and they all get back out there in the same place and they start racing again each other.
Yeah.
There goes 10 out of 25.
And that's for the lead.
Yeah.
The 10 was looking awful good there at the end of that run.
Yeah, he was coming on. He was just a little at a time.
Rudd around Schrader. And you see the bruised number 2 back on the track. Rusty Wallace trying to stay in that point hunt.
And I see the 28 cars back out on the racetrack. I wonder if Randy could talk to them to find out what was the problem.
Good idea. We'll get to that story. See what the story is on car number 28. Lapping Loy Allen. The leaders, Rudd and Schrader.
It's a Ford and a Chevrolet, and you know, I think the playing field has got a lot equaler this week.
Green flag pit stops have been completed. We'll get ready to take a break here, then come back and sort out the field for you. But suffice it to say, Rudd, Schrader, Labonte, and Earnhardt are the front 4, and Terry Labonte 5th. Leader in traffic. No, change that. Leaders in traffic. Schrader and Rudd continue to whoop on each other out here. Here they are under Derek Cope in car 12. What a battle they're having, and Bobby Labonte has caught them up as well. Take a look at those pit times.
When they get close to racing with each other, then that's what happens. But Bobby gained a pit stop that time. He made a really good pit stop, and that put him right back up there when they got to racing. Then that really puts him right back up there.
There you see the front 2, and we'll show you Bobby Labonte just right behind them to get an idea of how much he's made up in that 18 car. Right there in 3rd. A little further back, Marlin and Earnhardt in a pretty good war for 4th. I can't remember a 600 last year. The 600 at this point was so stabilized. There wasn't any of this kind of thing going on.
I tell you, I was a part of it. And, I wish I would have been able to stink up the show at the 600.
Drive off.
But you know, it was competitive, but nowhere near this competitive. And I think that's what makes Winston Cup racing get better and better, because we're seeing that type of racing.
Nobody's checking out on nobody, that's for sure.
Right.
Terry Labonte moving in on Earnhardt, 5th and 6th there. Just behind them, Michael Waltrip 7th. There's Ricky Rudd holding on to 2nd. Ford driver Rudd still a bit frustrated with that new Ford and Chevy spoiler adjustment rule. Here's what he told us about it.
You got to be careful. Everyone wants to do good, but just being really careful not to over-engineer. And the only thing we can hope for is NASCAR will step up here and give us that little bit of spoiler back that we had before. That's about 0.2 of a second right there. Then we can go race.
Looks like they're pretty racy right now.
Well, they seem awful racy, you know. And there's so much going through the garage area. You know, guys are going to switch to Pontiac, and there's people that's going to switch to Chevrolet, and people are going to switch to Ford. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, now that you've widened out that trunk lid on the Pontiac, Richard, it looks like things are better for you, at least certainly with Michael Waltrip tonight.
Well, Michael's having a real good run. You know, he qualified real well, 5th, I guess, and you know, he's been just regular steady. He qualified good for the Winston, but the car went all to pieces. I think it was really loose, and they learned from that. It looks like they've made their adjustments and doing a pretty good job with it.
230 laps, 345 miles have been completed with 5 cautions. 23 laps under yellow. It's been a while since we've had a caution out here. Back at lap 156 was when they turned them back to green the last time. And we've had great racing through 2 green flag stops. They keep on coming on and giving us this great show up in front. Oh, we got trouble in turn 4. Big time.
Come on, Bobby. There you go.
Brett Bodine getting spun around, and Bobby Hamilton made the move of the day to get through that one. Boy, he looked like he was going to get caught up, and then some. Coming on to pit road. A couple of bruised cars. Brett Bodine won.
We had 2 of the Bodines in the same wreck.
And Loy Allen, I think, is part of that as well.
Todd Bodine?
Yeah, I think Todd was right in there. I don't know how much he got into it, but he was in the pits also.
Well, the caution's out, too.
Caution number 6. Lap 232.
There's Loy Allen.
To Rick Benjamin. Rick Benjamin down at the STP pits in.
Ken, as we work toward the second half of the race, let's take a quick look at our Autolite race recap. Already 24 lead changes. Richard Petty mentioned there'd be a lot more. That's what we've seen. 11 different cars have been out in front, averaging just under 150 miles an hour so far, with 5 cautions to this point, 23 laps under yellow, and 5 cars out of the chase at this point. Here are the cars who've fallen out. Chad Little and Warden, Jeff Burton, both Burton brothers. Bill Elliott, we saw whack the wall hard. Dave Marcus out of the hunt. Leaders look like this. Bobby Labonte led off the start. Then Jeff Gordon and Kenny Schrader. Todd Bodine headed the show for a while. Schrader again. Todd Bodine again briefly before his problems developed. Schrader, Rusty before his trouble developed. Bobby Labonte, Rusty again. Bobby, and it's been Rusty in front for 1 additional lap on lap 122. And at this point, Schrader took command again. Rusty. Dale Earnhardt showed the way for a while. Michael Waltrip had a good run at the front. Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin briefly, a few laps under caution. Morgan Shepherd, Dale Earnhardt. We're back to Kenny Schrader out in front. Schrader, your leader, is on pit road. Randy Pemberton is there.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is not a pretty sight. Brett Bodine has walked from the lows forward. He walked over to pit road and has passed out on pit wall. Kenny Schrader, the leader, is in the pits. It's a 1 can of fuel, 4 tires, he's gone and away, but Brett Bodine needs some attention. Dick, you're with Earnhardt?
With Earnhardt, he is taking a 4-tire change, Randy. He's just gotten it done in right around 18 seconds, but they watched both Earnhardt and Rudd go by them. Now they have adjusted Earnhardt's car with tire pressure. They're trying to tighten his car up. Recall in the last round of pit stops when he went out, he was not as fast as he had previously been. So they have adjusted this car with tire pressure. No wrench in the back end, but it's going to be a different car.
Richard Petty, Ernie Irvin, let's take a look at what happened here. Loy Allen crashing into the back of Brett Bodine. Well, where's Todd in all of this? He gets Ricky Craven just getting by.
Sure looked like something happened to Brett Bodine earlier.
When he slowed down, really slowed down quick, because the 19, no way to catch anybody that quick in the middle of the corner. He might going in if he don't went off, but he really caught him awful quick.
Another angle.
I think there's something else. I mean, you know, that's the reason Brett Bodine's passed out on the pit wall. I think some of that has got an effect on what happened out there at the racetrack.
Well, I'm not sure how much of a piece of that Todd Bodine was in. Loy Allen and Brett Bodine were the hard crash in that one. And they're working on Brett Bodine right now, and we'll have an update on this story in just a moment. We'll take this break as leaders are pitting here in the Coca-Cola 600.
Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are under caution after that incident up in the 4th turn that you saw a moment ago involving Brett Bodine, and he is on pit road being attended to right now. I want to take a moment and share with you the Week in Racing, brought to you by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast weekly. First, we're going to show you some highlights from yesterday's Busch Grand National action. This in the middle portion of the race, Johnny Benson Jr. in car number 74. Benson goes crossed up, gets a little help. The car lifts, bounces back onto the track. He hits the wall hard. Kenny Wallace takes a hard lick as well. Several other cars involved in that. Rodney Combs piling in Richard Petty's car. A couple of other cars, they all stopped down in turn 1. The day dominated by Chad Little in his Mark Rippon Ford, car number 23. Little takes the checkered flag 1 year after he was hurt so badly here at Charlotte. Let's show you what happened in the NASCAR Super Truck event, the Western Auto 200 this afternoon at I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. There you see the 16 automobile. That's Ron Hornaday. Mike Skinner in the Richard Childress number 3. Skinner was the winner, coming down to take the checkered flag. Dave Rezendes and Jeff Bodine's truck finishing in 2nd spot. the victory lane ceremonies there in the winter, Mike Skinner. Here's the way your Indy 500 finish shaped up. Jacques Villeneuve, controversial finish. Villeneuve gets the win. Christian Fittipaldi, Bobby Rahal, Alessio Salazar, and Robbie Gordon round out the top 5. Scott Goodyear had that race in the bag. There was controversy coming off caution with a few laps to go. He passed the pace car. They stopped scoring him. Perhaps a protest will be forthcoming. We don't know as yet, but that's just speculation. Certainly some question marks as to how all that played out at Indy. Call 1-800-232-1522. Pick up a 52-week subscription to Auto Week for only $17.95, lowest price ever. Each week, Auto Week has all the inside news of racing, personalities, driving impressions, and more. The number again for Auto Week, 1-800-232-1522. Offer ends tomorrow. We're green, Ken Squire.
237 laps complete, 355 miles. And as they take green, we're going to update you on Brett Bodine in a moment. Let's follow this lead battle as Ken Schrader, Ricky Rudd, Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Hut Strickland lead them down. I think it's only fair to add on that Ernie Irvin's truck that Joe Ruttman finished fourth, wasn't it? Huh?
We did tell him that once. You know. The driver I didn't remember was Dave Resendez. Jeff Bodine's truck.
New England guy. Good run. How about Schrader? Trying to check out, and Rudd trying to reel him in. There's Derek Cope. Boy, he's found a hot set of tires. Look at him come on.
He's a lap down, I think, right now.
Yeah, showing 22nd, 2 laps down.
2 laps. That patented move around the outside there. He does a lot better in this black car.
It seems to know its way around, but
right. I mean, you know, he doesn't have any trouble seeing people.
From Jeff Bodine's car, looking over at Lake Speed.
That was a heck of a shot. You could really see what the side window, how much flex in that thing does. Oh, here we go, 3 wide.
Jeremy Mayfield goes a little high. Bodine pulls up on Mayfield. Gets through there. Get an update on the Michael Waltrip story right now. Randy?
Well, he's had a heck of a run with only 15 cars in the lead lap. Michael is now drifted back to about 13. They've broken the shifter linkage possibly. He's got 3rd and 4th gears. So at lap 240, he's still got a lot of pit stops left, and that certainly is going to hinder him the rest of the afternoon. They're trying to figure out what they can do to help him, but maybe they will not be able to do anything for him. As far as Brett Bodine's condition, they gave him oxygen here in the back of the pits. He finally did get up. He walked away and went back to his trailer with a nice big smile on his face. Brett Bodine okay.
That's good news on Brett Bodine, who took a real sock into the wall. Started in turn 3, landed hard in turn 4 after he and Loy Allen were in collision. Now you're getting to see the cars look a little faster now as those lights begin to take their effect here.
They're doing, I mean, you know, that's the thing. The lights really play a big effect. I think, you know, because of Bristol, everybody realized how this does with the lights, and, you know, Humpy and all them nobody ever thought you could just light up a 1.5-mile racetrack, but we sure have it here.
Don't you think some others are going to follow suit?
I tell you, you know, I was there at Bristol the other day, and they actually they used to have lights that they brought into the racetrack. Now they have all the lights pretty much like Charlotte Motor Speedway does, and Richmond's got lights now. I think you'll look at more racetracks paying attention to this, and you know, obviously we can race on a Saturday a lot of times and actually have a Sunday for a rain day.
Earnhardt working on the outside of Bobby Labonte, 3rd spot here.
It's a good battle, and we got to really say something about Hut Strickland there. We hadn't really talked about him much today, but he's digging right there and doing a good job. I hope that talking about him's not bad luck. Sure looks pretty edgy there, didn't it?
Sometimes it can be that way, can it?
Yeah.
That 3-car draft on the outside whips around Bobby Labonte. And look at Strickland come on.
Earnhardt's car must have got loose getting into turn 1 there.
He made a little bit of move, and all you do is bobble when they all run the same speed with him.
Terry Labonte stays right there with them. And still up in front, coming by. The 25 and the 10, Schrader and Rudd.
Strickland into 3rd. Strickland, Marlin, Labonte, Earnhardt, Labonte again.
Kenny Bernstein's car, which has had a terrible year, started 12th today and is right up there in 3rd with Marlin challenging on the outside.
A lot of rumors going on about that, there may be somebody going to buy that team.
The Bernstein team?
Buy the Bernstein team. It's supposedly another driver.
All these drivers get this money to buy teams with.
I figured out I'm having trouble paying my gas bill. I think the problem is me and you, Richard, we like to just race.
Well, I think we race for the fun of it more than we did for the money.
Yeah.
It was all good. I won't give none of it back, that's for sure.
That's it.
There's Bobby Labonte not giving anything back. Getting right around Strickland. Bobby Labonte up another spot. Give him 4th. Put Strickland back to 5th. Keep Earnhardt in 6th. Terry Labonte 7th. Morgan Shepherd 8th. Mark Martin in 9th. But the story for the moment is Ken Schrader. Back in '89, he looked like he had this race all his own way. And then, of course, it was Waltrip that won it. And it was Sterling Marlin that finished 2nd that year. It was a great run for Schrader.
Hey, Schrader and Ricky Rudd right now are somewhat the class of the field because they just keep ending up in the front. So, you know, that's kind of why we're saying they're the class of the field. But, man, there's just so many cars so close together.
When Schrader came to Winston Cup back in '84, as you watch Terry Labonte getting under Strickland, here's Terry Labonte down on the inside. That is for 6th spot. Morgan Shepherd right there. Kenny Bernstein's last win as a car owner. That came back in 1990 with Brett Bodine at North Wilkesboro. He's standing by with Steve Burns right now.
Kenny, you guys have had such a tough year. You started the year out with Steve Kinzer. You made the driver change the HUD. He's giving it a heck of a run tonight.
Yeah, Hut's doing a great job. He has the last 3 or 4 races. Can't stay enough for the team themselves, doing a great job too. Everybody stayed happy. Steve Kinzer's a good man too. We don't want to take anything away from him.
Kenny, you guys have really battled a lot of adversity to run well tonight.
Well, it's been a tough deal so far, but Hut's done a great job, and the guys have worked hard. I can't say enough for the crew, really. They do it all. I just got to be here this weekend. Had a little weekend off from the Budweiser King Dragster to watch these guys.
What is Hut saying about how the car is handling?
It's handling real good. It's just one of those things. It's a little bit loose every now and then, a little tight, but he's just out there trying to hang with them right now, and then hope we have a little bit at the end for him. Obviously, we're real happy right now. It's running pretty decent.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you.
What a great scrap that one is. The 6 and the 21. They just don't give it up for 7th spot. And they move Strickland back out of that into 8th. You see Jimmy Hensley on the tail end of that picture. A lap or 2 down in the Darrell Waltrip car.
I tell you, Mark Martin right now is gritting his teeth because, he come up and got along beside the 21 car, and now the 21 just keeps running side by side with him. And I know Mark's going, man, just let me by, let me by.
Well, these cars are about 3.5 seconds back from the leaders. They just don't give up out there. You keep waiting here, for the race to kind of.
Mark right now, here's what Mark's going to do. He's going to go in and come right behind that 21 car and get him loose because he's mad at him. He's saying, man, I was all the way up beside you, let me go. And that's what Mark's going to do. He's going to get him loose from behind him.
The 21 car looked a little loose right there in that last picture anyway. Here's Mark pulling back up in behind him again. Shepherd lying 7th. Mark Martin 8th. Here in the Coca-Cola 600 live on TBS. And back up in front, it's building for another 3-car battle for the lead. Schrader, Rudd, Marlin, and let's not forget Labonte, Bobby Labonte. 260 laps, 390 miles are complete with Schrader out in front, Marlin in second, Bobby Labonte third, Rudd, Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt back there in sixth, and just behind them you have Mark Martin seventh, Strickland, Shepard, Michael Waltrip, Ricky Craven 11th, Lake Speed 12th, Bobby Hamilton in 13th, 14th is Presley, 15th is Bass. Those are the cars in the lead lap as we get up toward the 400-mile mark of this 36th annual Coca-Cola 600. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Again, I'm with Gary Dehart, Terry Labonte's crew chief. Terry really seems fast on this set of tires, Gary.
I'll tell you what, right now, he said the car was perfect. We were fighting a little bit loose earlier, but I think the track's coming to us. It's cooling off a little bit. We're getting a little bit tighter. I think we're going to have a good day if we can stay out of trouble, not have any trouble.
Thank you, Gary.
That's the story on Terry Labonte, who's right back in it again.
The other Labonte right now is getting ready to challenge for the lead. It looked like Bobby was starting to chase Kenny Schrader down. Bobby's second. He's right on Schrader's bumper.
Bobby seen Terry coming, figured he better take off, right?
I think he heard his interview. You know, everybody's got them satellite dishes in the pits.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're listening to us. If anybody's listening to us, go ahead and wave.
Oh, great. That's terrific.
Nobody waved.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, here's the strategy in Dale Earnhardt's pit. Richard Childress just sent one of his crew members down to the NASCAR truck to take a look at the weather radar. And what he saw was it looks good right here in Charlotte, but the skies to the west are threatening. We are beyond halfway. That would be the end of it if we got some rain here. The other thing they are concerned about is their pit stops. They have two new men on the crew tonight. Gerald Haley is carrying in place of John Malloy. Malloy suffering from a broken arm. David Smith replaced by Mike Moore. And after every single pit stop, Andy Petrie gathers the boy round, and they all take a look at a replay of the pit stops.
Shin is on the speedway. Yellow is out. Todd Bodine showing a lot of smoke as he came down out of turn number 4.
I don't know if he blew it up or where he's done hit something else again.
Number 7.
Yeah. It looked like this might be some blowed up stuff.
This one looks like blowed up stuff.
Caution number 7, guys.
Terminal, right?
Terminal. Yeah. When you've been having a day like that, it's better to be terminal.
Yeah, a lot of times it is.
Yeah.
Well, Schrader's led 100 laps so far, folks. He's having a good day. 3 of these 7 cautions have, 3 of them have involved incidents with Todd Bodine.
I tell you, we all wondered what anybody was going to do with Jeff Gordon. We didn't really think about what anybody was going to do with Ken Schrader.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody even knew that Kenny was going to run this good. I don't even know if Kenny knew it. So it was a surprise for everybody.
Ken Schrader staying out in front. We started to say earlier in '84 he came to Winston Cup racing. He'd been in the sprints, he'd been in the midgets, he'd been in those Silver Crown cars. He said he wasn't worried at all about these stock cars because I don't have any more bones to break.
I tell you, when Kenny Schrader came to North Carolina and was doing a lot of racing, I was actually working at a shop that we did some work for Kenny Schrader. And actually right before Daytona when he won the 125, I went over and helped him load one of the trucks up that he was going down to do it with, and he gave me like 25 bucks, man. It was like I could eat for a week.
Great story, Ernie Irvin. All right, all the leaders are in. Let's go to Randy.
Well, Ken Howes and the crew go to work on the Budweiser number 25 of Kenny Schrader. They're only about halfway on that fuel stop, so 1 can of gas. They won't be waiting on fuel for this one. The jack goes up, the left side tire's coming off. A little bit slower on the left front for Schrader. There they go, still going to work. He's, quick on the left rear. Dick.
They've also called for only 1 can of fuel on Dale Earnhardt's car. A good stop for Earnhardt, 18.5 seconds. Less than 1 full can of fuel did that.
Lap 266 is where we're at. We're going to take a quick break and then be back. 134 laps remain in the Coca-Cola 600. Well, the lights are on around the speedway, and it's beginning to really make a dramatic difference in how these cars look. But there's another story here, Ernie, that ought to be addressed, and that is Earnhardt time after time has taken that #1 pit. He seems to always have an advantage, and it's not true here at Charlotte.
No, it's not. You know, right now the extension on pit road is probably 25 yards or 50 yards actually maybe 50 or 75 yards further down. And
where that man is standing?
Yeah, Dale has to actually go quite a ways away from his pit. So it makes it fair for everybody.
And he's getting beat out of the pits.
I mean, he's having real good pit stops, but he has to go that extra distance, and you know, the other cars are able to go their other speed. He's having to speed up too.
And the point, Richard, is that before he just tripped over the line.
Before he was sitting right like 2 foot from the line, he just dropped the clutch, and he beat everybody else, even though they was coming down at him. But he got that line first. Here, he's going to have to go to second gear before he gets to that line. When those people have got the momentum, then he's got to get his momentum built up. So it just makes it more even than what it was before.
Now, are they going to do that on other tracks as well?
I don't know what. That's the first time I noticed it here, but I think they've been doing it here before anyway.
I think it's been here before. You know, it's just a deal that this racetrack is big enough and you can do it. And I know Richard Childers and them's probably watching us on TV, and they're going to be on my butt. Because every time I mention something about the champion being able to get the last pit or the first pick, they always get on me about this. So.
But Larry McReynolds will be thrilled with the job you're doing.
You know, we already told NASCAR, if we win the championship, they can make it where we have to qualify to get our pit. And that's, you know, we can say that now. So, get ready to go green, it looks like.
They got the light on.
Yeah, they forgot to turn Elmo
got to turn the light out. The blinker there, didn't it?
270. Light is still on in the pace car. We've never seen that one before. Sterling Marlin, Bobby Labonte.
I didn't think it was going to start.
Schrader, Rudd, Terry Labonte, Hut Strickland, Mark Martin, Bobby Hamilton, and Ricky Craven make up the top 10 as we're back underway.
And we'll turn the light off now.
That was 2/3 the way down pit road.
Well, they're already race cars up the backstretch. So.
All the people must have knew that there was one to go. We obviously we can't see the flag.
Nobody's perfect.
But Sterling Marlin and the Kodak Film Chevrolets leading them by. Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Dick Trickle a lap down, Derek Cope a lap down, or 2 laps down, and then Kenny Schrader.
Let's see if Schrader can wind himself back up into this lead.
I tell you, I mean, you know, his car is obviously strong enough, and I'd have to say him and Ricky Rudd are going to venture to the lead here in a little while.
103 laps, 104 laps were his. Great performance by Schrader thus far. But it's Sterling Marlin, the winner at Daytona for the last 2 years, now with the advantage. Bobby Labonte going to the inside, takes a look. Earnhardt right there with him. Dick Trickle is back in 16th position. 1 lap down from those leaders. 15 cars in the lead lap. Robert Pressley is 15th. 14th is Maz. 13th is Lake Speed. 12th at the point is Michael Waltrip, the point of 272 laps on the record book. Morgan Shepherd 11th and Craven up there in 10th.
Still just digging right along here, guys.
Everybody's real racy right now, and they've been real racy all day.
They run along and run, and it looks like everybody stays like 2 or 3 car lengths behind somebody, and all of a sudden it's just a little bit of a bobble, and then here comes 2 cars by him. And so
it's a lot like Daytona and Talladega. The draft is playing such a big effect.
Schrader in 4th. Right there with him in 5th. Terry Labonte 6th. And drops onto the inside of Dick Trickle. Jimmy Hensley in the 17 is running in 17th position.
Hensley still they're suffering from that 1 lap down that they got on. Not for the driver change, but when Darrell wasn't quite up to speed at the beginning of the race.
And sandwiched in there is Hut Strickland. You see the 26 car coming back around to make a run. Pulls up to help Trickle and see if he can. Trickle was in the wall the other day in practice. Tore that car up pretty severely. Wouldn't know it now.
I don't think it's the same car. I think they had to go to a backup car because I think he had to start in the back of the field.
Did they pull him back? John Andretti certainly did. He took the back end off his car in the Thursday practice period. Thursday, 3 cars were torn up in practice.
And right there when Dick Trickle got so close to Hut Strickland coming off that corner. I mean, I'd have to say Hut had to lift, and obviously that cost him passing him. We're on board with Mark Martin right now. you know, Mark's one of the guys I told everybody that I think he would be good during the day, and he's just been competitive. He hasn't been a dominant car.
And as you sit in the passenger seat, you're riding in 8th position. Yeah, 3-1.
Yeah.
And you're getting up to what, 180, 85 right in here?
Yes,
Every bit of that.
Yeah. Especially now with the new pavement. I haven't actually run on this racetrack since they repaved it. These tracks will all be slowed down a little bit for when I come back.
Yeah, sure. Let's go down to Rick Benjamin at the STP Pit Center with a guest.
Thanks, Ken. Really happy to see Brett Bodine here. Brett, we were concerned. We saw you on the pit wall. What happened?
Well, you know, we come off the second turn over there behind Loyal, and we caught him to lap him, and I pulled out around him to pass him. He got real loose. We got the outside, went down into 3, and he just run into the back or the side of me. I don't know which one it was. And I thought I was going to save it. And then the car, he hit me again, and it turned down around and hit driver's side first, and then it was a mess. You know?
Shook you up a little, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the wind knocked out of me, and I just passed out for a second from a lack of air, I guess you might say. But I'm okay now, and I'd like to tell everybody back home up in New York, I'm all right.
You had a strong horse today. What do you think of these guys running up front? Who's got the best car right now?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it flip-flops. Every time they put another set of tires on, it looks like it flip-flops and who's got the best car. You know, right now, Sterling's looking awful good, chasing that extra $100,000. You know, he's going to try awful hard when they lay that kind of money on the line.
Among the 4 teams, you got a little additional help from NASCAR. Recently, Ricky Rudd's been awfully good today.
Yeah, he is. He's running real well, and, you know, I think he's probably about the only Ford that's got anything left for him. You know, early in the race, I thought I was going to be in good shape. I come off the second turn, or the 4th turn, I slapped the wall. It was my fault. It knocked the front end out of alignment. We just kept adjusting on the car, but we just never got it up to speed again. I appreciate you picking me last night for the win, but unfortunately, we let you down.
Well, I know you'll get one before the year's out. What's changed in your program? You've been running a lot better lately.
Well, you know, we had some team members leave, crew chief and shop foreman and some other key members, and Junior and I have kind of taken the program over, and we're going to work hard to get it back up to speed.
Good. As we watch Kenny Schrader make a move inside for second spot, getting by Bobby Labonte. Schrader has had some tough luck lately, losing part of a finger, part of his thumb, but he's been awfully tough today.
Yeah, his car is really good. Look how well he sticks right on the bottom. That's the key. You know, you don't want to push up down there in the middle with 3 and 4. The guy that can get through the center of that corner, get the throttle wide open the soonest, he's the guy that's going to have to outrun.
We saw a lot of wrecks yesterday in the Busch race where cars were getting together, air was being disturbed. It hasn't been quite so bad today, but what's changed here? This seems a lot different from past trips to Charlotte.
Well, you know, we are a little less rear spoiler, and that's less downforce on the back. The car's real comfortable by yourself. But like Ernie said earlier, when Hut Strickland was down inside of Dick Trickle, it looked like he had to crack the throttle because the car got light on him. And that's exactly what happens. The car gets light and moves over, so you need to check up when you're side by side because the air's just not getting to the spoiler.
Just have to use your head maybe a little.
Exactly, but you know, when this thing gets down to the end, these guys are going to start hanging it out more and more, and you're going to see more and more chances taken.
Getting inside the 100 lap to go mark here shortly. A lot of cars still with a chance to win this thing, and we watch another battle back there. Morgan Shepherd has been going pretty good today with Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, look at the draft work there. Michael got sucked right up with those 2 cars running side by side. He was able to make up a tremendous amount of ground down the straightaway. The draft is playing a big part in how fast you can get down the straightaway.
We're watching these cars draft a little bit further back. Hut Strickland running in 8th spot. That's a car you spent an awful lot of time in, and they've started to get fast all of a sudden.
Well, you know, Hut come and help that program, and that's a great car he's got right there. That car was leading the race late in the race last fall. We just made a bad pit call and knocked ourselves back to a 6th place finish, but that car is real capable, and Hut is also.
This is a great battle that's taking shape here down the main straightaway as we watch Morgan Shepherd lead Michael Waltrip and Hut Strickland. Derek Cope hanging right in there. And Jimmy Hensley, I think, has to get a call today. They're a lap down, but since he took over from DW, they've been running very well. We take a ride here with Ted Musgrave in the Family Channel board as he moves up behind the Ricky Craven car down the back chute into turn 3. Is it special to run here at Charlotte Motor Speedway at night under the lights?
Oh, it is. It's really nice, and you know, the crowd really enjoys the night racing, and you know, it puts us on primetime TV with you folks, and you know, it just expands our audience.
We love having it on primetime television too, as we watch Musgrave try to make his way to the front of the pack. Is this going to be a battle as we get down to the last 100 laps between those front 4 or 5, or is there anybody back there who might have something?
No, I think it's kind of sorted itself out. The only guy that might get himself back up in there is Mark Martin. You know, he's kind of hanging around in between the 2 packs, and I think he's capable of getting up to the front as we ride with him off the 4th turn. His car looks awfully good. You know, and Mark's a savvy driver. He's probably saving something for the end.
He's very smooth, hardly moving the wheel at all. Now that would mean he's handling pretty well on that.
Yeah, he is. He turns it. Right now he's turning it down into the first turn and going through the middle of 1 and 2, and he'll start releasing up on the wheel as he comes off the second turn up on the back straightaway.
And we understand that it looks like the car of Robert Pressley is going to take a black flag from NASCAR. Some car laying down some smoke on the racetrack. We take a look on the backstretch as we watch Bobby Hamilton and Rick Mast and Joe Nemechek pound down into turn 3. Hamilton's been tough today, and Rick Mast is running in the top 15. Yeah,
that's the group of cars I was running with most of the time. If we could have just ever got the front end worked out, I think we could have worked ourselves back up through there a little bit better. But you know, driver error early in the race cost us to fall back in the field.
Well, that'll happen every once in a while. It doesn't happen with you very often. We're happy to have you here and happy to hear you tell us that as well. Bobby Hamilton leading this pack of cars down the back straightaway. And Ken Squire, this is going to be quite a shootout as we ride down into 3 with Mr. Hamilton.
Yeah, it sure is. Bobby Hamilton up in the 13th position, still holding that lead lap. 287 complete, 430 miles. You heard Brett Bodine allude to that $100,000 bonus. Both Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin are eligible because Sterling won at Daytona, Mark Martin at Talladega. If one of them wins here, all they've got to do to pay it off to get an extra $1 million. A win here is worth $100,000, but the $1 million if they can win on Labor Day at Darlington. So it's a lot at stake for both Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin here this evening.
And that's where Sterling Marlin, one of his wins has come. Wasn't the one that gave the bonus. But boy, here we got a good battle. This is almost just like what happened in the Winston. You know, Dale Earnhardt, I thought he was going to make a 3-wide, get into turn 3.
That's for the lead. And Sterling Marlin getting tapped, had to pick it up.
No, he never got tapped.
He never tapped
just real close.
Just air?
He drove in there so close, he took all the air off of the back of that tour car, and he had to go.
So Schrader has the lead, and now it is Dale Earnhardt in second. And Bobby Labonte comes to third, and here comes Earnhardt after Schrader.
I'm telling you, Dale Earnhardt's he's the most savvy race car driver we have right now, and he knows more about what goes on with aerodynamics, chassis-wise and stuff. And this is what he's doing, and he's going to probably take the lead in a little while. But Schrader ain't going to give up.
How close do you have to get to pull that off on somebody where they really have to reach for it to get it back?
It
that
all
close?
Well, here's Schrader. Schrader did it. See,
Schrader done it right back to him.
Yeah, see, Schrader learned. But he ain't going to give up. You watch, Earnhardt's going to turn left on him right now. There he goes.
Why they do that?
Oh, you know me, Richard. I'd never do that.
Yeah, but it looked like he'd learned. You know what I mean? After 2 or 3 times, you said, wait a minute, guys, I got to do something different.
Yeah, you know why? Because all them people were just, shaking their fist and going happy, and that's what Winston Cup racing is about.
I've seen a couple of deals like that. What happened is you go in there like that, and then the fellow that didn't go on in hard and didn't go high, he lets off, and this cat turns and just runs right in the back of you and knocks both of you out. So maybe it's safer to go and get out of the way.
Yeah, it is.
Here's Bobby Labonte ready to try Earnhardt.
And there's Bobby going to try to do the same thing to Earnhardt that he's been doing to everybody else. Oh, he got him loose straight away.
Yep.
He hit him that time because it wasn't just an arrow deal.
Well, probably arrow to begin with when he moved, then he probably hit him.
Yeah.
This with 100 laps to go. We've still got a total of 14 cars. Wow.
Bobby got him real good that time.
Big time.
I don't think that was a meant deal, but it did happen.
Schrader pops back into second. Terry Labonte down on the inside for third. You'd think there were 3 laps to go out here.
I tell you, what why these guys are racing like this? Because second place is the first loser. And that's why they're racing like this.
But the only one they remember for second place is 100 laps down the road.
That doesn't matter. I don't think I would have wanted to be Bobby Labonte and done that to Dale Earnhardt and have to race with him the rest of the day, because he ain't going to forget that.
Comes a 25 back by.
Is that right, Richard?
Oh, yeah.
He ain't going to forget it, is he?
I think most of these race car drivers are smart enough that they they remember everything. I mean, if it was last week or last month or 10 years ago, they remember so-and-so hit them going in the first corner, Daytona or whatever. They don't forget, man.
That's it.
Are you saying that payback time still exists?
I'm not so sure it's a payback deal, but you know, you're not going to cut the guy a little bit of slack when you could.
Let's take a look and replay at that incident just a moment ago. Now there's the 18, Bobby Labonte, tucked right in behind Earnhardt.
Earnhardt got a little bit loose right there, and Bobby come up on him. Bobby just miscalculated how close he was to him. I don't think he just did it on purpose, but
yeah, but the 3 didn't go out any either. He come down too, so it was just that combination. You know?
Here's Dick Berger.
Well, Richard Childress, you watched that move on TV. What you think?
Well, you know, he had him sideways on the straightaway, then he turned him sideways on the backstretch. I can see a guy revving you in the corner, but hitting you on the straightaway, you know, maybe he can't see over the steering wheel. I don't know.
Randy Pemberton.
Well, Bobby Labonte radioed into his crew chief, Jimmy Makar, and said, guys, I didn't mean to do it. I barely bumped him, but I think it really comes down to what you were saying, Ernie. It is the draft, and you can suck up on a guy real quick here.
He backed out down the straightaway and let him go.
I tell you,
right.
I remember something. Maybe he couldn't see him. The lights aren't very good here in Charlotte. I mean, kind of remember what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I know where you're coming from, buddy.
You really think you're going to get back out there, don't you, Ernie? For sure.
I'm ready to get back out there.
Doesn't need to make any enemies while he's doing this.
No, I'd like to be swapping some paint.
Well, here's Earnhardt ready to swap some right now with Schrader, the leader.
Earnhardt's come back. He just got a little bit loose there. Swapped a little paint. Now he's ready to go back racing.
14 cars remain in the lead lap, and there's a lot more paint swapping to be done before this one's over. 96 laps remain in the Coca-Cola 600 for 1995. Schrader and Earnhardt stay up in front. What a performance it's been all afternoon and evening here. Talk about the great 600s. They talk about 1980 as the greatest. Darrell Waltrip versus Benny Parsons. Parsons' greatest day. This one's so far matching it, Ernie. What a race we're seeing.
I tell you, a lot of guys counted Dale Earnhardt out at the beginning of this race because he qualified 34th. He wasn't starting very good. And everybody said, oh, man, Earnhardt's not running good at all. That's a typical Dale Earnhardt deal. He's ready to race. Whether he can qualify at the lead, but he's ready to do it.
This is what makes that team work. I mean, the driver works that little bit harder, and Childress's crowd works that much harder. They're championship caliber deals. And it doesn't make any difference how bad a day they're having and stuff. You don't count them out because they've got their stuff together. It might not be perfect, but it's better than the majority of the other people, and they just keep working at it. They just don't ever give up.
Dale Earnhardt's going to drive that extra bit. I mean, he's going to get out of the car. Now he's not necessarily going to get out of the car more than what he can, but he's going to work hard at it all day, and he's not going to give up at all.
Reviewing for you down through those top positions, giving you some sense of the order around the track and the interval between the cars. Here's Ricky Rudd. He's running in 5th place at the present time. Had a great race, stays up in that lead lap. He's still a serious contender to win it all. Right behind him, Mark Martin, just as smooth as ever, running in 6th. Following him, right inside the car with Mark Martin in 6th spot. Beautiful shot down that back straightaway.
You see all the lights glistering out. That's what makes some of the view.
Got Earnhardt and Terry Labonte at it. 2nd spot at stake right here.
It looked like Earnhardt had a little bit of problem down there in 3 and 4. I'm not real sure what it was, but just Labonte just drove right by him.
Had a report about a little telltale smoke from car number 6, Mark Martin's car, a moment ago. We want to check on that. This is for 2nd place.
Remember, Gary Dehart told us that the last time Terry Labonte had the best set of tires he had, it was perfect. And right here now again, his car is coming on.
That ain't perfect. It's pretty close. Isn't it?
That's another Hendricks car. Yep. I mean, we've got 3 Rick Hendricks cars in the top 3 now. There are 3 Rick Hendricks motors in the top 3 right now.
There's the 25 car of Schrader out in front. And that interval now stands at what? 1 and maybe almost 2 seconds. 1 and 7. 1 and 7/10 seconds between car number 25 and 5. Then a tight battle for third. Here's Earnhardt right back after Bobby Labonte another time. Pit strategy updates with 90 laps to go. Randy Pemberton.
If this race continues to run green, the pit strategy fuel mileage could play a factor in the outcome. Sterling Marlin, they say, should have to pit between 320 and 325. That would mean he can't make it. Now, the 25 car, they say they'd like to pit on lap 333. That'd be 67 laps. I think they could go for it. The 18 car, they want to pit on lap 335. They are going to go for it, so it's one more stop. I will check in after we go down to Dick Bergen and make sure that the Kodak team has to make only one stop or two stops. Let's go to Dick first. Dick?
Well, Randy, I'm right down in the Earnhardt pit, and they don't think they can do it on just one stop. They're going to have to do two. Right now, they're calculating that they're going to stop somewhere around lap 322. But two stops almost certainly for Earnhardt's team. Steve Burns.
Dick, we just talked with Gary Dehart, the guys from Terry Labonte's pit. They're in a similar situation. They expect to pit in about 20 laps.
So that's the situation on pit road. Will it be one or two pit stops? 3:12 now complete. And as you see, there's 147 mile-an-hour average we did see a moment ago. That 147 would be a new record for the 600-mile distance. Earnhardt established the old mark at 145 and a half. 1993 was the year he did it. Here's Schrader. Still consistently turning out laps. This is what, lap number 140, somewhere in that range, that he has led in this event. With the Jeff Gordon situation developing early to put him out of this race, left him laps down. He's been playing in and out, trying to pick up some points. The dominant car has been the sister car from the Hendrick team. This car, number 25, with the Budweiser colors.
And the next car is Terry Labonte. So, like I said, it's a couple Hendricks cars that are really looking good.
And we're checking the interval again between those two as this race runs down. Kenny Wallace is back on pit road. For Terry Labonte, the question is the longest race of the season is taxing on the driver, as it is said to be.
You know, to tell you the truth, 600 miles here, it really doesn't seem that long. The race probably doesn't last any longer than the one next week at Dover, but we run a lot of races that are 500 miles, so it's not that big a deal.
Boy, they get to the end of Dover next week, it'll be quite a deal. That 500 miles there takes longer than 600 miles here. That'll really ring you out.
Well, you know, they've got new concrete there, and that's just going to make it a lot harder for the drivers.
So, Schrader still has that advantage, trying to get that victory. Martin's car is smoking now, and we'll give you that story in more detail when we return. Steel aerial platform giving you this spectacular picture of the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway. Humidity out there tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. But so far we've been blessed. Rained all morning here, rained up into the afternoon. Look at the smoke. It continues to follow the number 6 of Mark Martin. Harbinger of bad things to come for Mark, who still stays up in this race in 6th spot. We're trying to get an updated story from the pits as to what's out into the Valvoline car.
You just see it now. You just see a little bit of the smoke now. You know, he had the problem too in Winston. He had like a burnt piston is what the problem was. I'm not saying that that's what the problem is now, but that's kind of what it looked like too.
Sure getting worse at the moment.
Yeah.
But he's hanging tough. Mark Martin in number 6. Let's go back up front a moment. With lap 322. There is Schrader. What a great race he is having. 88 and 89. You know, he's 7th pole here for this event previously, but he's never tasted victory in this one. And it's been, what, 118, 119 races since he has had a win?
119, I think.
Right now, it's all his way. Schrader stays first, Terry Labonte second, Bobby Labonte third, Earnhardt is in 4th, Rudd is 5th, Mark Martin 6th, Michael Waltrip 7th, then Sterling Marlin, Lake Speed, Hut Strickland 10th, and Ricky Craven is in 11th. There's Bobby Labonte, and the Labonte brothers are now 2 and 3 on the race record. I can't ever remember a race where they've swapped the lead so much and been usually, all of you folks, you know, I think you're told to kind of bridle a little because it is 600 miles. None of that here.
We're going to black flag the number 6 car. I guess he's smoking pretty bad, you know. Man, real bad now.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah, that's terminal 2 there, but it's
pretty blowed up.
That's
there.
not a leak.
Nah, it's more than a leak.
In his 12th start, Mark Martin trying to win this one. Keeps getting away from him. And how about this? There's a little close, huh? Bobby Hamilton in that 43 car remaining in 12th position, and Rick Mast in number 1, and they're just as racy on the tail end of the lead lap as they are up in front.
Why does he keep racing with that car? Look like he just going by and going by.
Richard, you need to have your radio. You need to tell him that.
Yeah, that's what they used to tell me, and I said, hey man, this is it. You know,
Mark's car left the pits right now, and it was really smoking.
Yeah, he's gone back out again, and there's a tremendous plume of smoke as it stays on the bottom of the racetrack and comes up to speed.
I'd say he'd be back in here in a little bit.
From the STP onboard camera. Coming around Mark Martin's car, and he stays down to the bottom of the track.
Go on.
He heard
I'm helping him. Yeah,
I'm telling you, they listen to us up here.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he's got that little TV monitor in his hand out there.
Well, that's why he's watching the TV monitor.
Yeah,
the race.
Yeah, sure.
I'm in here, guys. I know we're good, but I don't know we're that good.
You should have come to him earlier so you could have done a little more coaching. You could have picked up 3 or 4 more spots, Richard.
They'll get him going here. They're getting close to the end of the race, or they'll crank him up. He's pretty good for the end of the race. That's where he usually does the best.
That puts him back up to 11th. Craven now in front of him in 10th. And the rookie, Ricky Craven, out of Newburgh, Maine. Gee, he's having a great race. Came in here tied with Presley.
But he's still on the lead lap, Richard.
Yeah, but we're getting there. Making a pit stop now.
Yeah.
Coming down pit road here.
But he's still on the lead lap, so he's still racing.
Well, with Gordon's early problems, Martin's recent trouble, Earnhardt, he's likely to leave Charlotte with at least a 100-point lead. Just watch this pit stop on the Petty team. See that NASCAR official counting how many people you have over the wall, Richard?
Why would he do that?
Still counting, too.
They're making sure they didn't just get an extra one over there.
That's right.
It only takes one more.
It's a bad pit stop there.
22.
That's their slowest pit stop. It's 21.
And you see Bobby Hamilton getting back to work. Jimmy Hensley has just brought the 17 in. The show he's given folks in that car. He's running 14th, and here's Earnhardt. Came in 4th spot. Headed down to the end of pit road. Make a stop. Dick Berggren's there.
7-time national champion, 3-time winner of this race, Dale Earnhardt brings it in. On the right front, Andy Petrie. He's the crew chief. Ricky Mears is doing the right rear. Mike Moore, the jackman du jour. He gets right around that car. Petrie now on the left side. Chocolate Myers putting the gas in. They know how critical this stop is. We're getting right down to it. And Chocolate runs right behind the car. 1894. Nice stop for Earnhardt with 2 new men on the crew tonight.
That was on lap 330. So I wonder, can they make it by? I mean, I wonder if they can make it to the end of the race. They're saying no.
They can't run up there. Don't think so.
If they do, Gary Nelson will be down there with a fine-tooth comb.
He might be anyway.
Most likely, you're right.
Can't get much.
What do you think
Gary.
of the job he's doing? I mean, seriously, Richard, as a car owner now, is it better?
Well, I don't know anything's any better. You know, overall, he really tries to keep up with what's going on. Some of the stuff I think he get a little bit too picky on, but if you don't pick on everything, then the big things are going to get away from you. But I think overall, what they're trying to do and what he's trying to do is make it competitive for everybody, all makes of cars, all drivers and stuff, and give everybody as fair a chance and make a level playing field just as much as he can. And he works hard at that.
Lap 332. 498 miles complete. Steve Burns is down there for Rudd's stop.
Ricky Rudd has just put the car in the pits. Jeff Chandler on the front tires. Come around the side. Everything looks good so far. Dick Mike Berger said they've got to nail these final pit stops. The jack goes under the left side. Jeff Chandler hits the left front tire. They're down and away. Let's go to Randy Beverly.
Well, Sterling Marlin is in. I believe he made it 67 laps on that tank of fuel. Kenny Schrader in, 3 pit stalls behind him. Marlin done with his 4-tire stop, and Schrader, they're around, going around to the left-hand side as of now. Ken House crew continues to work on the Budweiser Chevrolet. A good stop so far. 2 cans of gas. They would love to try and make it another 67 laps. That would be 400. Schrader down and away.
And there are 67 laps to go in this race. As you come to lap 334, 66 laps to go. Here's Steve Burns.
Terry Labonte coming down pit road. Walter Smith and Jackman. Gary Smith and tire changer. They're down and under the car. Terry Labonte radioed in a few laps ago that the car felt a little bit tight. We'll see if they'll make any chassis adjustments. Walter Smith brings the jack around the driver's side of the car. They've got it up with no problem. This is a very smooth pit stop.
Come in for 4 tires. They're happy about that when he's down and away. Bobby Labonte back out.
They took a round and a half a bite out of Terry Labonte's car. I could see that. But they had a slow stop too, so they're going to be about.
And as he comes back on the track, 99 miles to go. 99 miles left in this Coca-Cola 600. We seem to be on track for a new record unless there's a lengthy caution from here on in. Ken Schrader in front, Earnhardt is second, and how about Lake Speed? Spam car up in 6th spot. Great run by Lake Speed thus far in this event. And 11 cars, 12, stay in the lead lap. There's your leader, Schrader. Hey, guys, take a look at those pit times. There's Rudd at an 18.6. And when Rudd came back on the track, he was 4th. Schrader first, Bobby Labonte second, and Dale Earnhardt third.
Hey, Ricky Rudd's had a lot of good stops all day today. I just saw Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte racing together pretty much wide open.
Mark Martin is back on the track, and we can get an update on the story of car 6 right now.
It wasn't much, but it was significant. A broken hose that leads to his oil cooler. That's all it was. They went back behind into the garage, replaced it. Mark's back out. Tough break.
9 laps down. Mark Martin in car number 6 now being shown 29th on the field. Hard to run 500 miles, be right up in it, and have something like that, and have to come back out and just grit your teeth and run this last part out for the points.
You get used to it. Because it happens all the time.
It grows on you.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is really, really tough. It's real disheartening to know you're out there, you got a good car, and you're doing everything you can. You know, you're just going to have so many good days anyway, and you're doing everything you can, and all of a sudden, you're out there running and know there's no chance of doing good. So that really hurts.
Keep seeing the Bobby Allison car number 12 in here. That's Derek Cope at the controls of that one, and it's running back in 19th spot. It's a couple of laps down to the leaders. You have 12 cars still in that lead lap. 11 of them chasing this man, Ken Schrader, as he goes forward in the Coca-Cola 600. About to lap Dick Trickle in car number 15. The 18 car, Bobby Labonte at the moment is actually catching up with his number 25.
I think it's time for everybody to turn the wick up. It's if you have some boost, you're gonna put it up. And they don't have none, but it's time to stand on the gas.
If you got it, you better show it now, because it's getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Nitty-gritty.
That interval is really getting pared down.
Obviously, the 18's running them down a lot.
We'll come back to follow this battle for the lead between Ken Schrader and Bobby Labonte, with Earnhardt just outside in third. 3:44 complete. That rough old diamond called the Charlotte Motor Speedway taking its toll. They've got a black flag out for Robert Pressley of Asheville, North Carolina, tied in the rookie standings. He's on pit road, enjoying some smoke out of that car. As he comes in, number 33 comes to a halt. They're going to lift the hood on the Jackson car and see if they can do anything to get him back in. get back out on the racetrack and watch this affair. There's Hut Strickland in the 26 and 6 spot, and Sterling Marlin coming after him another time around Jimmy Spencer.
I tell you, it's amazing how many cars just keep racing in the same spot. You know, it's I mean, it's like deja vu. You know, you just all the guys keep their speeds are kind of somewhat the same, and sooner or later they end up in the same spot.
You see Michael Waltrip just behind that pair. He's in 8th. And as you look back just behind him, there's the 30 of Michael Waltrip in the 8th, and Lake Speed is staying right there with him. Jimmy Hensley's back on pit road with 17. There's that 9 car.
Lake Speed's one we haven't really talked about all day, and he's right there in what is it, 8th?
To 9th, I think. Yeah. No, 8th. You're right.
Yeah.
Lake Speed, and they're giving him a nice spot on the NASCAR story.
He's just been running regular. He hadn't been running fast. Just a regular deal, making decent pit stops, running decent on the racetrack, and starting to come to him now. You know, he's right there behind some pretty good cars.
And here's 30 and 4, still at it. Waltrip and Marlin. As Jeff Gordon's going back behind the wall another time. He's been in and out of the garage area several times in the course of his 600.
I can tell you what they've done. They've looked at pit the monitor, and they couldn't gain any more spots. They're probably going to retire for the night.
So it's the 13th if he's officially out. He's headed for the truck. So you can call it the 13th time that the 600 pole sitter has failed to be around to finish this one up. Terry Labonte and Ricky Rudd. That's for 4th.
Yeah, and Terry Labonte is driving the car that Ricky Rudd drove last year. So, you know, that's one of the things that you kind of forget about, but because of the paint schemes have changed.
As to the number 3, Dick Berggren can tell us about the Earnhardt car right now.
We're going to let somebody tell you about the Earnhardt car that really knows. Andy, we're really getting right on down to it now. Around 50 laps to go. What's the strategy?
Well, right now we're trying to get that 25 car. You know, if we have a caution here, we may adjust the car a little bit and try to beat him, but it don't look good right now.
Randy Pemberton.
Well, we'll check in with Jimmy Maycar. He's watching his driver, Bobby Labonte. Hey, how you doing on the stopwatch with Schrader leading?
I believe we can catch him a little bit. We've been in traffic for the last few laps and have been able to close and gain, but now they're in some open traffic. I think they'll get a good shot at him. I think we're a little better than him, about a 10th a lap, 500ths a lap, but still a little ways to go. We'll have to wait and see.
Fuel, no problem?
No, we're okay on fuel.
Well, there's Bobby Labonte, 2nd spot, up in front of him, Schrader, and he has been nipping the 10ths of a second off lap after lap, trying to chase down the Missouri driver in car number 25. We'll take a look at the interval right now as he puts a lap on Bobby Hamilton. And there you see the difference between 1st and 2nd spot out here tonight as we get down to the finish.
Well, Kenny Schrader has blown the engine in the 25 Budweiser car. He takes his helmet off. Obviously hot. He's frustrated. We're going to try and get a quick word. He had his best chance to win since he won last in 1990. Kenny, what can you say? Tough break.
Not too good today. I need a Bud real bad. Thing was good. The guys did a heck of a job. Car was good. It's the car. I mean, the fab shop worked to get it back. Jeff and Ray and Terry and Gary helped us, and we had something good.
Okay, better luck next week.
Next week, Dover, Delaware. Heartbroken Ken Schrader. $1.4 million. Paychecks have all been written. All they've got to do is fill in the names. 2nd in 91. He led 168 laps before the engine expired on car number 25. So now.
Made it a pretty good way.
Huh? Yeah,
made it a pretty good way, right?
Bobby Labonte has it for the moment. And let's see if he can stay there for Joe Gibbs again.
And they've already told us that they can go all the way on fuel, and I'm sure he's just going to
cruising.
Bide his way.
Well, he's in pretty good shape now because he's not having to race with anybody.
Right.
He's out there. The traffic is spread out pretty good now. So if he's catching anybody, he's catching one at a time. So he can be real cautious about how he's passing because really nobody's catching up with him either.
And we've been talking about numbers. I wonder what race this is for Bobby Labonte number-wise.
We've got some late breaking news right now on Dale Earnhardt. Let's go to Dick Bergman.
Ken, they've been calculating fuel mileage here in the Earnhardt pit. 64 laps as long as they can go. They last pitted. Not enough time to go all the way to the end. They're going to come up about 5 laps short. No matter how they calculate it, and they have been calculating it here all night long, Earnhardt is going to have to stop for a gas and go before this thing is over. He cannot make it to the end.
You could have Labonte's 1 and 2. You see Terry right back there in 3rd, closing up on Earnhardt another time. We now have 8 cars in the lead lap. Bobby Hamilton has gone a lap down. Ricky Craven was just passed by Hamilton. And so Mast has passed Craven as well. Hamilton 9th, Craven 10th, Mast 10th, and Craven 11th. Richard Childress looking on.
Richard's trying to figure out how to get some more gas in that thing.
So find somebody to draft with, right?
Yeah.
Well, they pull away from Terry Labonte there. We're showing 365 complete as you get this 360 lap rundown. 365, working 366 towards 400 with Bobby Labonte with the advantage. And it's a big one. What, 6 seconds over Earnhardt in 2nd place. Now look at this scramble. You're looking at Marlin 5th, Michael Waltrip 6th, Hut Strickland right back on the inside in 7th.
I tell you, they have a heck of a battle going. It's went on for a lot of laps.
I think they've raced from lap 1.
Yeah, I think so.
They're still digging, man.
They're still digging, and
yeah, one will lead a while, then the other will lead a while.
Sometimes people always say, well, why do you guys keep passing each other? You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, we want to win, but you know, I mean, you're passing the same guys, and pretty soon you slow down and the next guy passes you. And it's because we're competitive, and we want to beat each other.
Morgan Shepherd being lapped by Bobby Labonte, who's never won a race. Super Bowl winning Joe Gibbs is with him. He's going just the way he likes, and he wants to do even more.
You know, to finish second twice is great. You know, I just, get a little luck on our side, get a little luck here and there, and we'll have a better day than a second place. And you never know, that day might be around the corner, might be a long ways away, but we'll just keep hammering on them.
500 miles he's been hammering, and there's Joe Gibbs looking on as his choice after he lost Dale Jarrett to take over this car. Now is in command of the Coca-Cola 600 and seeking his first Winston Cup win. Looking into the Charlotte Motor Speedway from the steel aerial cam with 373 of 400 laps complete. The last time we had brothers 1 and 2 in the 600, 1971, Bobby and Donnie Allison. And that's what it's shaping up for right now. But there's others out here that can change this story, and Dick Berggren has more.
Fuel is the story on pit road, Ken Squire. When Earnhardt came in, it was on lap 329. Recall, he is going to have to stop with 5 to go for a gas and go. Not so for Terry Labonte, who made it all the way to 334. His crew chief, Gary Gehart, says they can go all the way. They won't have to stop. Now, there's a caution, all this goes down the drain and we start all over again, but if there is not, fuel could play a major role in the outcome of this event.
And again, let's review as far as Bobby Labonte's concerned, Ernie.
I think what they said, Bobby Labonte's crew chief told us that he could go all the way too. So the first and second cars say they can go all the way.
Yeah, I think they stretched it all along to try to do that, and somehow or another Earnhardt just didn't have it to stretch, and they were able to stretch it right now. So it's looking good for them right now, but we just have to wait and see.
Dale Jarrett's Haviland Texaco car has gone behind the wall. It is out of the race. The attrition continuing to build with Bobby and Terry Labonte 1 and 2, Earnhardt 3, Ricky Rudd 4, Marlin in 5th, and that battle continues with Michael Waltrip in 6th and Lake Speed right there in 7th. A lap down in 8th is Bobby Hamilton, followed by Rick Mast, and Ricky Craven stays 10th with the Hut Strickland. A couple of laps down in 12th. Dick Trickle 13th. Steve Grissom 14th. Musgrave 15th. And they'll give you more on the rundown here on the top of your screen. But what a story being written up front by the Labonte brothers. Is it a replay of 71 when Bobby and Donnie came home 1 and 2? Well, it's still over 6 seconds by which Bobby Labonte is staying out in front of the Interstate Battery Joe Gibbs car.
There's going to be a lot of mix-up on back down in the top 10 or 12 because some of them are going to stop, some of them are not. So that's going to really mix it up down there. But the front ones look like they're pretty well set.
Richard, Randy Pemberton can give us more on some of the cars that cannot make it the distance without a fuel stop. Randy?
Yeah, Ken, 5th through 7th, the 4 car of Sterling Marlin, they've radioed to him. They're not sure. They said, Sterling, conserve fuel, however you do that. And if you go back to Michael Waltrip in 6th, they said, you cannot make it. The 9 car of Lake Speed, they told him, I believe you'll be 4 laps short. So that's the way those cars stack up. The 43 car is running 8th.
Putting a lap on Randy LaJoie is the leader, seeking that first Winston Cup win in the car that won the 500 here last October with Dale Jarrett at the controls. We'll be back for the finish after we take this break. And we're back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with Richard Petty and Ernie Irvin. I'm Ken Squire, topside. And we're going to be with you right to the finish now, following Bobby Labonte in his quest for his first Winston Cup victory. Now, second place is a long way back, and it's someone he knows well. 6 seconds back is Terry Labonte. Years ago, he was asked by the press what he would change about himself. He said he'd like to be more like his brother Terry. Well, his brother Terry is a former Winston Cup champion, and I know that's what Bobby Labonte has in mind. A big step tonight if he can do what Jeff Gordon did and introduce himself to victory lane on the Winston Cup circuit right here in the Coca-Cola 600. Here's Bobby Labonte, and for Joe Gibbs it'll be his 2nd straight trip there. They pulled it off last October with Dale Jarrett. As we mentioned, Dale Jarrett is now retired. There's Joe Gibbs looking pensive, looking on. There's a guy that loves this sport, huh, Ernie?
I tell you, he loves the sport, and he loves to win. And you know, most all parts of sports, whether it's football, drag racing, or Winston Cup racing, they're able to put together winners.
Bobby Hamilton is now on pit road for his final stop. He's running in 8th position, 1 lap down in the Petty car, number 43. How did that pit stop look, Richard?
I don't know. I missed it. I was busy watching it. Well, I missed it. That was a good stop, but they just had to put in 1 can of gas. And the deal is the reason they changed tires. They can change tires as quick as you can put in 1 can of gas, so he doesn't lose anything by changing tires. It just makes it that much safer once he gets back out there.
Looks like we're on our way to a record. Hey, don't you love that camera up on top of the 43 car? That really shows you're racing like in. That's amazing, that shot.
Yeah, when you got a deal like that, you get the panoramic view of everything. You can just sort of see everything. Now, when you're out there driving that car, it's more like you're in with binders on as far as. Yeah, you get tunnel vision. And somebody was asking me the other night about the difference in running during the day and running at night. And I think it gives you even more tunnel vision at night. It's not that you ever pay any attention to the grandstand or the infield during the day, but it's there. It's in the corner of your eye. And this way, all you see is that black strip in front of you. So really, I think you probably pay more attention when it is dark or when it is lit than you do any other time, because you don't get distracted any at all.
120,000 people on the edge of their seats here. Another 40 or 50,000 at least in the infield, watching as Bobby Labonte closes down. We're going to stay with you right to the finish unless there's a caution. Keith Craven has fallen back some, but he's still, as far as the speed is concerned, but still stays 9th. Robert Pressley has come back on the track. That rookie battle. Craven is still in 10th. Remember, Pressley was brought in early, and he has fallen back considerably. So that point battle will change. Ricky Craven now making his final pit stop.
They're going to just gas and go.
389.
That's what the 1 car did. They're all kind of racing with Richard's car. And Richard's car, they put 2 tires on and a whole gain of gas. The other guys are just putting in a couple, 3 seconds worth of gas, just enough to make it to the end.
Presley back in 25th. Craven comes out. We're showing 10 to go. getting down to the final 10 laps.
10 more laps. Boy, I tell you, you know, I won my first Winston Cup race at Bristol, and I tell you, when the last 10 laps come, I mean, it's like unbelievable in what you feel. And I know Bobby Labonte right now is just he's hearing things, feeling things, and his whole life is wanting to be a Winston Cup driver, and now when you succeed, that's the best feeling in the world.
See, this is where Jeff Gordon started his deal last year. You know what I mean? He Steve won here, and then he went on to a real good year. And Labonte's got the same chance.
Earnhardt coming down on pit road. This is that stop that they've been talking about. And here it is at lap 391. Morgan Shepherd also coming in.
Earnhardt on pit road, 4.78. The only guy who worked on that one was Chocolate Myers, trying to get just enough fuel in that car to go all the way. Question is, will the Labonte brothers have to stop again, or are they on their way to victory?
Earnhardt coming back to speed. This puts Rudd into third, Marling to fourth, Waltrip to fifth, and Lake Speed up into sixth. Craven getting lapped by Bobby Labonte.
One car was back in again. I wonder if they had a stop and go penalty or something.
I don't know. I'm like you. I didn't see it until he went back out, so I missed it.
But Earnhardt, they just gassed and go, and that's just they couldn't make it on fuel. If Richard Childress could figure out how to put some more fuel in it while they're running, they would have done it.
Well, a 23-year-old has cast a long shadow over Bobby Labonte. When they ran for Rookie of the Year, Jeff Gordon beat Bobby out. Then 2 races this year. There's Bobby's wife, Donna, looking on. 2 times this year, Bobby Labonte was close. Jeff Gordon took him away. But tonight, right now, unless his brother has a trick up his sleeve, Bobby Labonte is on his way to win #1 in the Winston Cup Series here in the 36th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
And I tell you, this is the race that set Jeff Gordon off right then. He won this race last year, and you know, then it went on to win at Indianapolis. You know,
a super good year, right?
You see Chuck Bown off the pace here. I had a call on Chuck tonight. It's great to see him back racing after that crash at Pocono, Pennsylvania, that put him on the shelf for a year. Getting a chance to come out here, qualified well. It looks like they've run that one dry.
Yeah, that might be what happened. They might have been stretching it as far as they could stretch it.
Still racing right here. Ricky Rudd.
I tell you what, if you make it with 3 or 4 laps to go, you don't even look at them. No, you just run it till it quits, and then you go from there. Right. You don't even think about it then.
And Earnhardt's not going to give up easy. Rudd and Earnhardt's probably going to race for the rest of the day here.
But it's a race other than for track position.
Track position count it is,
because Earnhardt is a lap down.
Oh, okay.
After that pit stop, just didn't get up to speed enough into that speed limit on pit road.
The speed limit on pit road is what really hurts them. Otherwise, they lost about a half a lap or something.
It looks like Rudd's going to come in.
On the other hand,
there comes Rudd in.
He must not have been able to make it.
So now the question is, they figure so close. We're down to those final laps. What, 3 to go?
It must have run out.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. I don't think he'd have come in.
Steve Burns down there with the car 10.
Ricky Rudd comes in for just a quick splash of gas, 2 seconds worth to be exact, with just 2 laps remaining.
Was that a planned stop?
They sure must have known he was coming in. Hey, you know who gets the award tonight? Those spotters. What a job they have done.
They have done a good. It's been a good, clean race all night long. Really is.
I'm going to give that slickest move to somebody. I'll sure put those spotters right up on top. All 42 of them. White flag is down, and this is it. For the money, is there enough fuel left in Joe Gibbs' car number 18 to take Bobby Labonte to victory lane? 4 cars out of fuel in these final moments. Sterling Marlin slowing down. He's come out of fuel. He's dropping back, and he's headed on the pit road now.
They told him he was
running third. You have deja vu.
Here comes Bobby Labonte for the checkered flag.
Checkered flag is down, and the winner of the 1995 Coca-Cola 600 is Bobby Labonte. Waited a long time for this one to come together. Former Grand National star in 1991 is their champion. He's just pulled it off. 13th at Sears Point, the last time out, and he's done it tonight. He's given Joe Gibbs a victory in one of the greatest Winston Cup races of the year, the Coca-Cola 600. Be some celebration in Victory Lane for Bobby Labonte, who broke his shoulder at Darlington, made the next race at Bristol one time. He's a toughie. Michael Waltrip will get third tonight. Sterling Marlin has to settle for fourth. Let's go to Victory Lane.
Well, last year it was Jeff Gordon winning his very first race of the Coca-Cola 600. Tonight, Bobby Labonte, what's it feel like to win your very first Winston Cup race?
Well, I tell you, it feels great. You know, this is it's one of those deals where the crew did it on the last pit stop. They got me out in front of Terry. You know, Schrader had problems. You know, I don't know what happened to him, but he was going to be tough to beat. And there's my wife. There's my baby boy. But the Interstate Batteries crew did an awful great job tonight. You know, I was just trying to pace myself throughout the night, and I got into Earnhardt a couple of times there. Didn't mean to. I just never had this fast a car here before. And I tell you, you know, I just let him go because I thought, well, ain't no need to be racing. So, you know, Interstate, Shell, EDS, Goodyear, Hendrick Motorsports for the great engines, Chevrolet, Food Line, Champion, you name it, they helped. You know, I'm just a small part of this great team. Looking forward to the rest of the year.
Okay, you've got all the sponsors in. Tell us about the race. What kind of race was it for you?
Well, the race was, you know, I mean, you know, we just paced ourselves. You know, we went really wild on shocks this weekend. We spent Friday testing shocks. We weren't too sure what to expect, and I thought the first part of the race they're going to be great, but I thought they gave up on us. But Penske shocks did awful good, and I tell you what, they're pretty wild. So on the graphs are not very pleasant looking, but we liked them. So it's great.
Bobby Labonte at Victory Lane. To Rick Benjamin.
Well, Dick, Bobby Labonte and his crew certainly deserving of our congratulations. Great to see that team back in Victory Lane, and congratulations to Bobby, who certainly deserved an opportunity to win. Time now for our Liquid Wrench Slickest Move of the Race Award. The Slickest Move is brought to you by Liquid Wrench, given to the driver or team member who makes the best move to help the team on the racetrack. This award goes to Labonte and his entire crew for pit stop management. There you see one of their stops earlier tonight. They had the gas mileage figured out. Bobby did not need to come in late in the race. He was able to maintain his lead. One of many great moves, I think, that team made tonight. Some on-track moves. You heard Bobby talk about his two little skirmishes with Dale Earnhardt earlier. Kept the car straight, got it back going, and was able to move on to the victory in convincing style once Kenny Schrader fell out of the event. So the Liquid Wrench Slickest Move tonight to Bobby Labonte and the Joe Gibbs Racing Team for their victorious effort. Randy Pemberton still on pit road for us.
Well, we've caught up with the other Labonte. You had a heck of a run, but you got to be happy for your younger brother.
Well, I am. He did a great job, and he's done a great job all year. They've got a great team, and you know, they finished second a couple times already, so it was a well-deserved victory. And I'll tell you, our Kellogg Chevrolet was good. We were consistent all night long. We had an ignition go out there about 20 to go, and I thought it was over and switched ignitions, and it picked back up. But it was a good run for us. We're happy with it.
Congratulations on a good run, Terry.
Thanks.
Steve Burns?
Michael Waltrip, a third place finish, but man, you look worn out.
Yeah, just disappointing, you know, a little bit to have the problems we did and have such a good car. You know, that kind of takes your wind out of your sails when the race is over. But third place finish is great for the whole team. I appreciate Doug and Ron and all the guys. They work so hard for me. And say hello to Mr. Pate with Pennzoil. Appreciate all they do for us. And they didn't have a very good day at Indy, so we needed to do them some good here tonight. We had a real good car. We lost first and second gear early on. It hurt us getting in and out of the pit, and then there at the end, we didn't know if we could make it or not. So I was riding around about half throttle, just keeping Sterling in sight, just figuring I'd try to get him at the end, and I'd be darned if he didn't run out.
Well, great run. Let's go up to Ken Squire.
All right, full field standings on the final lap coming up. Point standings as well coming up. And more from the Coca-Cola 600 on TBS.
We're back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Coca-Cola 600 is complete for tonight. Congratulations to Bobby Labonte, who won the event. Terry Labonte gets second, and Michael Waltrip an excellent third. Fine runs tonight for all those teams. Time now for the Plasticoat Winning Finish Award. Plasticoat is the official spray paint of NASCAR. Proud to present the Winning Finish Award to Jimmy Maycar tonight, the crew chief of car number 18, the Joe Gibbs racing car that went to victory lane tonight. Plasticoat presents $2,000 to the crew chief of the highest finishing Cup team participating in the Plasticoat Award program. At the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish picks up $25,000. So Jimmy Maycar thrusting himself solidly into contention for that award, the Plasticoat Winning Finish Award tonight. Also want to bring you an update on Stan Fox, the Indianapolis driver who was badly hurt today. He is still in critical condition, no real change in his condition. Head injuries and bad leg injuries too. We wish Stan and his family all the best in Indianapolis. Much more to bring you here as we wrap up our coverage tonight on TBS Sports. Randy Pemberton still patrolling pit lane for us.
Well, Ricky Rudd is back in the garage here. We're really trying to figure out exactly how this finish came out. I know Sterling Marlin ran out of gas at the end. Ricky, you're a 4th or 5th at least.
Yeah, I guess one or the other. We're real happy. You know, the tied forward. Bill Engel, the whole crew did a great job all day and night. And halftime, I thought we had something for them. You know, we ran second a good part of the race, led it a little bit, but about halftime, the Chevrolets decided it's time to go, quit playing, and they took off. They're in a different league.
So there's no question in your mind you're still at a small deficit, if not a major deficit.
Well, I think we're a great Ford race team right now, and we'd be a great race team overall. You know, it's like, I don't know how to compare it. It's just it's a different class of automobile with downforce. It's like the IMSA cars with the ground effect cars and the non-ground effect cars. We just can't get through the corners with them.
Okay. Thanks, Ricky. Steve Burns.
Randy, I've got Sterling Marlin. Sterling finished 4th tonight. Sterling, how about your evening?
Well, it went pretty good. We pushed real bad on the start of the race and fell way back, and the guys done a good job adjusting on the car. We could run good on short runs, 20 laps, the car start pushing real bad, and just had to back off. You're going to hit the wall, and if we ever got a caution toward the end, I think we might have had something, but, congratulate Bobby on winning the race. I know it's real special to win your first race, and especially here at Charlotte, but the Kodak team done a good job, great pit stops, and wound up for us. Give it all we had.
Okay, Sterling. Let's go to Ken Squire.
And a look at the unofficial results on this Coca-Cola 600. The Labonte brothers, 1 and 2. First time that's happened since 1971 in the Allisons. Michael Sterling, Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt back in 6th position. Looking further back, Hut Strickland tonight, 7th, Lake Speed in 8th, Bobby Hamilton, Ricky Craven, Morgan Shepherd, Mike Wallace take us back to the 12th position. Steve Grissom had a 13th, Rick Mast ended up in 14th. Musgrave tonight came home 15th, followed by Dick Trickle. John Andretti, 17th, and Darrell Waltrip with Jimmy Hensley driving that car most of the way, had an 18th spot. And then there was Cope, Nemechek, Chuck Bound, Jeremy Mayfield, Randy LaJoy, and these cars were all running at the end. Robert Presley, Elton Sawyer, Spencer, Bodine, Martin, Kyle Petty, Schrader. When you get back here, you begin to find those that did not make the distance. Heartbreaking for Ken Schrader, who led so many laps here tonight. Over, 160 laps he had his way. So there are the final standings, as we say, unofficial. Chad Little retired right off at the start of the race. Ward Burton was out early, and his brother Jeff at the same time. And the old Thunderbat, it got all ripped up. Let's go back down to pit road.
Well, Ken, a lot of activity along pit road as these teams pack up and get ready to head to Dover Downs for next weekend's next Winston Cup event. Next broadcast you'll see here on TBS Sports comes up in July from Pocono International Raceway. Let's tell you a little more about that event.
Well, I'm not sure. I ride Jimmy Maycar and today Bobby Labonte's coattails, but I wanted to say hi to Norm and Tommy Miller from Interstate. Hey, those guys made it possible, and it really is when you think about from last year and all the trouble and the things he went through last year. The Lord blessed us with Bobby. Somehow that's a miraculous situation to be able to get him from his situation to ours and for us to be standing here. New cars, new shops, new bodies, and I tell you, it's really a testimony to Jimmy and the team he's put together here. And we just say thanks to everybody that's involved with our race team. Shell's been great, and our other sponsors, EDS, and everybody right on down the line. They've made it neat for us, General Motors and Goodyear. So we're thrilled.
Randy Pemberton.
Well, there's a thrilled little guy by the name of Bobby Labonte in Victory Lane, but this guy right here, Hut Strickland, driver of the Quaker State Ford. I know you couldn't be more thrilled for yourself and your entire team. Great run for you this evening, finishing seventh.
Well, thanks, Randy. You know, I'll tell you, my hat goes off to Kenny Bernstein and Richard Broom and, you know, this whole entire Quaker State team. You know, they had enough confidence in me. They give me a chance again, and you know, I feel like I'm getting a second chance driving this car for them. So, you know, my hat goes off to them. And, you know, it was a great race for us. I want to wish Bobby Labonte, you know, a lot of success on his victory today. And hopefully, you know, we'll get our first one sometime this year. You know, we feel like it's coming. And, you know, I want to say right now, I want to say happy birthday to my mom. Today's her birthday, and she's down in Panama City, Florida. So, hi, Mom.
Okay, ditto for us. Okay, Steve?
Randy, I'm with Lake Speed. Lake, you finished 8th. That's a good night's work at Charlotte Motor Speedway, top 10.
Well, I just thank the good Lord we got through all the wrecks and stuff that we did, and a few close calls, but the Spam Mellon 2 guys have really done a great job, and all year long we've had good race cars, and we felt like we should have been having top 10 finishes and top 5 finishes. But it just seemed like every other time something would happen. Tonight, we got through a race clean without any real problems. You know, no mistakes, nothing broke, and just had a pretty good, solid run. The last set of tires wasn't quite as good as the ones we'd had right before that, where we were really moving towards the front. But all in all, we were real happy to get a top 10 finish and really to get our team's enthusiasm built up. We're a young bunch of guys that have just been put together over the winter, and to be able to get out and compete with these teams that have been running for year on year after, you know, we're pleased. I don't know anything else really to say.
Great run. As I said, a good night's work, a top 10 finish. Let's go to Ken Squire.
At the outset this evening, you saw Bobby Labonte looking into victory lane, hoping for that first win. And it concludes with him there, averaging 151.9 miles an hour, a new record in his 74th start. Bobby Labonte reigns supreme over the Coca-Cola 600. There were 32 lead changes tonight among 12 drivers, a fair amount of retirees from 7 cautions that took 23 laps. But the story tonight was this man, Bobby Labonte. Our thanks to Richard Petty and to Ernie Irvin for being alongside, and our entire staff for a wonderful evening at Charlotte. Ken Squire, good night.